Do not adjust your radio dial. You are tuned in to the Mark Order Podcast. Join the Mark Order.
Oh yeah. You know, Schlong, now that I'm a big TV star, we start things a little late, right? Fashionably late.
You were not wearing that when we were waiting to start.
What are you talking about? I've been wearing this the whole time. I'm a big deal now.
I mean, you are a big deal. You were the star of the show on Friday.
Huge deal. A huge deal.
You were part of the opening.
I was the opening, my friend. Well, Mrs. Money and I were the opening. That's all I know. We had screen time before John Moxley Friday night.
You had what? Say that again?
Screen time.
Oh,
We
I
were
thought
on
you.
screen before Mox.
You were like I said. You were the show.
That's right. You know, just living that Hollywood dream. You know, some of us get the call. They say, you got to come sit right up front because you're a star. We're going to put you on TV. We're going to kind of keep an eye on you all night and see what your reactions are because it's genuine. You're a fan. You traveled here during the pandemic. You've earned this.
What?
Ryan, were you not watching during the pandemic when we were bonus content for another podcast whose network we're part of? I traveled down every
you like
Wednesday
they meant
night.
like. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought they meant that like you were on TV during the pandemic as well.
No.
I was confused.
I was a beat reporter on the scene, boots on the ground in Jacksonville for the Shining Wizards Network. Nobody else was going to do that. I was there every goddamn week.
I think it pretty much bankrupted the network.
Well, their bankrupt is our gain because we are still in talks to acquire the Shining Wizards Network.
Yeah, I mean we're in final negotiations, and then
That's right.
we're going to charge $8 a month to be a member of the Shining Wizards Network.
That's right. $8 if you want to be a member of the Shining Wizards Network. If you just want the A show, $5. It's a deal.
Yeah.
It's a steal. We're
We
discounting.
were going to
for
start
the
at
fans.
20, but
Yeah, you know, we got to get people in the door somehow. $20? I don't know.
we need streaming revenue, damn it.
Well, it's a good point though, Ryan, because we are going to have some content that will not make the merger. Very much like the HBO Discovery merger, canceling things left and right. We are taking our axe and chopping up the lineup on the network once we own it. That's all I know. We've all come to that agreement.
I mean, if we're going to be like Discovery, we are just going to be cutting everything.
Everything. I can tell you this. Turnbuckle throwbacks, they're safe. They're going to make it. Shining Wizards, TBD. Still on the fence.
The probation.
If that, yes.
Or Canadian buddies.
Metal, yes. That'll last. Without a doubt. And same thing with what is it? Wrestling Night in Canada, eh?
Yeah.
That's gonna make the cut for sure.
But otherwise, you can say cancel culture has come after you.
That's right. You won't have beat down this one 4 times. You won't beat down cancel culture for what did they say? 15 times? 18 times.
I don't
Doesn't
know.
matter.
I why you have to beat it down once is just
It's more than you should have to.
yeah, especially when you're not in like an overly public place.
It's very true. And you sound awful proud of that too. I wonder what that's, what that's about.
Yeah, that's the other discussion of like what's
You know,
Oh my God, is that Macho Man Randy Savage on the stream with us?
look who finally decides to show up.
Oh, buddy, I would have rather have been on time. How are you doing?
Well, I'm just living my Hollywood dream. We can't all be television stars.
I'm glad to hear about that.
Mhm.
How's your Slim Jim situation?
We're still in negotiations there as well.
Nice.
Trying to snap into a little something, but they would like it to be a little less something. So we're just negotiating the terms of what we're snapping into.
Don't let them undervalue you.
Listen, I know where my value is.
Good.
When you're on screen before the current champion, you're the value. You're the money.
You're the draw, is what you are.
here comes
That's it.
the money.
Mrs. Money too.
I mean,
Can't leave her out.
she is money.
We're the monies. If they only knew.
It's true.
They did.
It's true.
So let's see. I never even did the full opening because I'm just so Hollywood. I'm so blasé. I don't even care anymore. This is the Mark Order podcast, I guess, episode 84. Here on Wednesday night, the Shining Wizards Network, soon to be the Mark Order Network.
Did you ask the good people if they know what that means?
What's that?
That it's Wednesday night, and do you know what that means?
Oh, I didn't. I was so Hollywood. We even came on camera a little late. I was like, whatever, man. It's fashionably late.
It's true. If you're anything, it's fashionable. So if you were like, we're starting 3 minutes early, it would be fashionably early because look at you.
Yeah, you just gotta be here waiting. So it's episode 84. Let's see it. We got the 3-man team here. That's not anything we've done before. What do we call it? The Holy Triumvirate.
There it is.
I've had other names. The 3 best friends of the Mark Order podcast.
3 best friends that anyone could have.
That's right. Some would call us the 3 Stooges. Not me,
That's
though.
true.
Not me. We've got Kate the Great finally showing up. She's a little more Hollywood, but that's fine. And we've got Ryan Schlong, who is very preoccupied with what's going on in the World Series, even though we can give it up now, pal.
Wait, I got a gift for Kate.
Uh-oh. Hey-oh. Ha, ha, ha.
Fucking who gives a fucking fuck?
Oh, we're going to talk about it. If you're not watching, you don't know. So we're going to talk about that later. Kate's a little rambunctious over the surprise guest, or the surprise, not the surprise guest. Let me rephrase it. There were a couple surprises tonight. We had a surprise opponent for Chris Jericho. We had a surprise person that Jay Lethal brought in, who knew Darby Allin's weakness. Kate wasn't a huge fan of that. Schlong, are you just sitting really still right now, by the way?
It was preceded by one of the dumbest pro
No idea what you're talking about, Ant.
In the world. So pensive.
What is going on?
I'm going to say
weird.
he took a screenshot of himself to put up there so you can go watch the Phillies game.
It's just really weird.
That's okay.
It sounds like something I would do, but I don't want to say it's what I did do.
Okay.
It's okay.
Most of the best episodes are when Ryan's not like fully on screen. You know what I mean?
It's true. So yeah, we're going to talk about Dynamite in a few minutes. We're just kind of catching up here at the start. We've got, let's see, Gordon Post checking in. Mrs. Money's listening. Asian Joe. KJG is actually here. Well, look at that.
He's here sometimes.
Yeah.
For
Sometimes
the
B guys got to check out the A guys. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
So Kate, how's everything going?
It's going, brother. How are you?
Okay. Well, that's not going to get us far, but that's fine. I'm doing fine. We know Schlong is watching baseball right now.
I don't know what
am
you're talking about.
actively listening. I'm just
Oh.
delayed, so you don't see my mouth move.
Oh, I got it. Schlong, things good with you?
I mean, if the Phillies were winning, it'd be better. But yeah, they're good.
Listen, you won last night. Take that.
I did.
That's good. Your Philly sports teams are hanging on, although I think the Flyers took a little bit of a dip. Is that true?
The Flyers, no, they're still there. They're losing in overtime, so they're getting their points.
Overtime.
Yeah, but in the standings, in the Metro Division, they took a little bit of a tumble. Not all the way back, but they fell a couple spots, right?
Hold on. I don't actually know.
It's so tricky without you actually being on screen. I keep
I
thinking
know.
you like froze or that you're.
They did because they lost tonight.
Mm-hmm. Who's top of that division right now?
I'm sure they're going to stay there all season too.
Who's top of the division? I'm asking.
He answered.
You did? I didn't hear a name. Kate, did you hear him say a team?
I actually didn't. I'm not even being a jerk.
I said New Jersey, and I'm sure they'll stay there all year too.
Oh, that's right.
Jersey.
We'll take it when we can get it, Schlong. Well, Schlong is thinking long and hard about what he's going to say to everything all night. Apparently, Kate's got nothing going on, so
nothing worth talking about on here. Nothing worth talking about on here. But I had to call out Friday because I had a migraine, which sucked. But I went back and watched me some Rampage so that I could see you, Mr. Hollywood, and Madam Mrs. Hollywood Money, which was fun.
We just lucked into some good seats, and I can say this: Rampage is actually a lot of fun when you go see it live on live showing Friday night. They did. They started at 8:00. They actually might have started a little bit before 8:00, but they did wrestling all the way up to the live show. They taped, a bunch of dark stuff. Got the old, got the nod from Dasha. Came right out and was like digging the jacket, and I was like digging your outfit, Dasha.
And Mrs. Money wasn't even upset because she was just thinking about her man's abs.
That's right. Well, unfortunately, no boyfriend showed up on Friday night.
Rip off.
No boyfriends made an appearance. Oh, Schlong's finally unfrozen. That's good.
Yeah, just weird things. It might happen again when stuff starts to happen. I can't control it.
So no boyfriend showed up Friday night, but it was a lot of fun. We interacted a lot with the people who were in and around the ring. I will say this: the security people are fantastic with the kids who are there. They were giving out candy and stuff like that, making the kids feel like $1 million. Sammy Guevara also, that was a Rampage match, right? Sammy Guevara was giving it to some of the kids who were sitting around us. They were saying like boo to Tay, and he was going quiet, yelling at them to be quiet, and they were yelling back at him. So that was fun.
That is fun.
What else? So we didn't get to see any of the boyfriends.
That's a shame.
I can tell you this. In 2 weeks, the go home to Full Gear, I won't be here because I made the guest list apparently for Bridgeport, Connecticut. So what do you want me to say?
I understand the jacket and the sunglasses now.
And
of all the nonsense I get, Kate at Fight Club, this and that. I'm not getting press listed. I'm not skipping out of this show. Come on.
I didn't get a press credential. I would love a press credential, but I am on.
I wonder if you could, if you're listed anyway. I wonder if you could.
I turned mine down.
Obviously, yeah.
I will be honest. I did look at their press credential sheet, and we don't come close to making their criteria. So I've never attempted.
Is it combined numbers?
No, I don't believe it is. So yeah, we're not close. But
what if we're verified on Twitter? Because I have an easier way of doing that now.
What, verifying Twitter?
Well, if that will that get me a press credential? I can do it. Then we have an easy way of going about this.
Why? Did they honestly? I have no idea. Did they change the criteria for getting a check mark on Twitter?
You haven't heard this? The whole
No.
thing is that Elon. That was my joke at the beginning of the show. Elon wants to make it $8 a month now to be verified.
Oh, had no idea, Schlong. I had no idea.
He's like going a bunch of other things, but really it's going to cost anyone who is already verified or wants to be verified $8 a month, and anyone then can get verified.
Yeah, we're not. I can tell you this: we're not spending Mark Order budget on a verified account.
No, absolutely not, unless they got me press credentials.
That won't even do it.
Not when that $8 a month can be spent trying to lower the astronomical shipping costs that we have for sending out our stickers.
There's no shipping cost. Why are we spreading this false narrative?
Yeah, for orders of $49.99 or more, that's the case.
No. I mean, you see my name, right? AntMoney. I mean, I'm sitting front row. I'm, rolling dice. Living the life of luxury. I'm Hollywood. I'm guest listed. It's not going to cost you anything to get stickers. It's not going to cost you anything.
Wild, man.
I'm just going to take care of it. I'm going to pay for the stickers. I'm going to ship the stickers, and you're not going to incur any of those costs. I'm telling you.
Okay, I
Did
promise.
You say you were going to shit the stickers?
Ship.
Yep. Just going to shit them out.
Clean the shit out of your ears. I'm shipping them.
The important thing is I will never forget the information that you just told me.
What's that?
About the costs of the stickers. I will not forget that ever again, and definitely not in like 10 minutes from now.
You certainly will, but it's okay. It's okay. So yeah, it was a lot of fun being there in Rampage, and like I said, 2 weeks to go home to full gear. I won't be here, so maybe I'll call in on the way home.
That would be
good. I'm not
good.
staying over in Bridgeport, but I could give you a call on the way home. Schlong's thinking about this again. He's not sure if that'll work, but it could work.
You should call in like, hey, long time listener, first time caller.
Yeah. First time, long time. I just won't have any video on. I'll just leave the audio running.
Oh my God. Next week, the last one of the year, you're not going to be here.
No, I'm here next week. It's the following week, right before.
I'm here, and the Phillies are in the World Series. What are we doing here, guys?
I mean, listen, if the Phillies said to you, we're going to guest list you because you're a Make-A-Wish kid or something, then you'd be there, and that would be fine.
Well, I wonder what I was dying of.
Isn't there a South Park episode where Cartman did that?
Yes, there certainly was, but I couldn't think of what he put down. Either way. Yeah, Schlong, if they put you on the guest list and you said, hey, I got Phillies World Series tickets, then by all means, I mean, go for it. But
no, because I'm committed.
Oh, okay. You're gonna be committed. That's for sure.
It seems actually like you're pondering that decision, to be honest. Like it seems like you're really mulling over what you would do in that scenario.
He's still thinking.
He is.
I'm a thinker.
He is.
I'll be thinking for at least an out.
It's the thinker or the stinker.
Hey.
So, well, I guess everybody had a slow... Oh, wait. How was everybody's Halloween? Anybody do anything for Halloween? We're a bunch of adults.
No, not really. I got half off at Chipotle.
Half off? Look at you.
I got a burrito.
That was a trick or a treat? I would call it a trick about 8 hours later.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a little of both. First, it was a treat.
There you go.
Then a little later, it was No, it was I was very hungry. And then, surprisingly, I did a wrestling podcast at night. So just
so
to
you
switch it up.
kept your lights off, no kids come to the door, things like that?
I actually would love to do that, but I'm on the second floor in my apartment. So there's no way I could do that without appearing like a pedophile or going downstairs and taking over my neighbor's porch. So, but I wish I was like able to give out candy. There were some cute costumes in like our little downtown area, but
it's all right. Next year, just go around, go downtown and just whip candy at kids. You won't be creepy or anything like that.
No, just chucking candy at children. course.
I will say this: we went out trick or treating with.
I was gonna ask, what was the big guy?
He was a Ghostbuster. That was his own choice. I think he saw some of the accessories you could have when you get the costume and decided that was the right choice. You know, I can get goggles and a proton pack. Sign me up.
Oh yeah.
So he was a Ghostbuster. He also had a very cool trick or treat bag. It was Slimer, and it was shaped like Slimer, and you put the candy in his mouth to hold all your treats. So he thought that was very cool.
That is very cool.
It was pretty cool. Now I'll say this: he did very well. There were a couple houses in this area that were doing full-size candy bars.
Hell yeah.
He was lucky enough to get to one of those houses. They had a basket out. And we got to that house before a group of, I won't say like big kids, but older than him who were going around by himself, who were still of proper trick-or-treating age, got to that house behind him and immediately dumped all of that candy in their bag.
Of course
so
they did.
thankfully he got a treat. But the one sort of moment in the night that I'd like your guys' opinion on, and Ryan, you're thinking already hard about this, so keep thinking. We were heading down one of the streets right around here, and we were going to a house we know every year. It's sort of like down a private drive, but they welcome trick-or-treaters, and they always give out full-size bars because they don't like nobody goes there. So we're on our way to that house, and we see there's a guy like at his front stoop. Looks like he's smoking a cigarette, and he's talking to a lady walking a dog. And she starts to head back. She sees us, and she starts to walk down the private drive. So she's the lady who's giving the full-size bars out. So we're going to head down there, and then we were planning on coming back and like hitting this guy's house and the other one's on their way. But the guy's very eager to stop us. So we let him go to the guy's house, and the guy gives him a piece of candy, and then he gives him something. It looks like a slip of paper, right? And what we thought it was and he had a stack of them. What we thought it was it one of those Wendy's booklets for like Frosties, because he's gotten those before. Those are cool. And then he gave, we saw he had a stack of these things because he gave Gina and me a piece of candy, which we then realized were like leftovers from something like Rocher, those hazelnut candies, and like some sort of Cadbury candy, whatever. So then he starts, talking to Anthony, and he's like, he starts talking to the baby, and he's like, oh, what's your name? And he tells him. And the guy's like, oh, I'm such and such, oh, where are you, are you from around here? And we're just kind of like, yeah, we're over there. All right, we got to keep going. See ya, right? And then we go sort of down this private road, and I stop the kid, and I'm like, hold on. I got to see what you put in your bag. And he pulls out this slip, and I shit you not, it is a $100 bill. Gina looked at it. Mrs. Money looked at it. And she was like, this can't be real. And I'm like, oh, it's real. It's a hundo. And now I'm sort of worried. So here's where I want your opinion. Am I wrong to think this guy might be a creep giving $100 bills out?
100%.
I'm wrong thinking that?
No. He 100% is. No, that's weird.
Right? He's given hundos out, and he's really interested on knowing what his name is and where he's from.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, $100 bill, because that's a little kid is going to be like, oh, cool, but would be more excited about candy. The fact that he gave a little kid $100 bill and you guys weird leftover candy is like, something's up with that dude. That's weird.
He gave him a weird leftover candy too. Mrs. Money's saying she thinks he's either a drug dealer or doesn't understand Halloween, but I had
How old is he?
Oh, he was not old, but old enough.
Okay, because it's either one of two things in my mind, but you just confirmed it's not the one. If he was like an old man, I'd say it was just an old man who's got nothing to spend his money on, so he's just...
No.
Okay. Yeah, no, he's going to try to approach kids and be like, "Hey, little buddy, I'm the guy who gave you $100. Aren't we friends?"
Right.
Nah, that shit's weird. That shit's real weird.
Now I'll say this: the hundo's still sitting in the other room.
Oh, keep the money.
Yeah, that was. But I shit you not, guys. He had a fucking wad of hundos, and it's legit as far as I can tell. It's got the watermarks. It's got the strip.
No,
Those
like,
little-
no note with it or anything.
Nope.
That's weird. Because if he was like, if he came into a bunch of money and was handing out hundos to just be like, if it was like, this is, and wrote like this is a treat, and spend it on something, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that's weird.
Weird,
That's
right?
weird.
I thought it was a little weird.
That's a lot.
Yeah, no,
weird.
he definitely is going
There's
to
something
approach
going
kids
on, right?
that he gave that money to and be like, "Hey, buddy, don't you remember me? I gave you $100."
Yeah.
Ryan's putting a lot of thought into this response, so I think Ryan's making total sense.
Yeah, no, he is definitely contemplating it.
So that was the weird moment of Halloween. Everything else was fantastic. He got a lot of candy. He was very excited to go trick-or-treating. And then he came home and was exhausted. So it did its job.
Does he still have at school girlfriends?
He tells us no, but you could see when you do the morning drop off, there are some girls who are interested.
I didn't know if there was like any my girlfriend, the Stay Puft Marshmallow gal, or anything, you know what I mean?
No,
there was like I want to be a Ghostbuster cause stuff, but
no, we
Bust that ass. Oh, sorry.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a child, Ryan.
Mrs. Money checking in saying, I can't wait to spend that hundo on Rampage tickets. Yeah,
no, you spend that hundo at the casino, you win like $500, and then you cover your costs and you end up upside right.
That's right. So yeah, I will say this, Kate, we did go trick-or-treating, and we did go to a house. We're still trying to sort of get used to like the parents and like the kids in his class, because we don't see them all the time. And we did go to a house that one of his little girl classmates lives at, and she recognized him right away. Anthony, hey, and when he came down, I was like, hey, who is that? He's like, nobody. We ask him all the time, and I'm like, any girlfriends? He's like, no, Dad. I'm like, any boyfriends? Like, I'm just trying to figure out, like, whatever. He's like, no, just my friends. I'm like, all right, it's cool, man. Like, whatever whatever you want to do. Like, it's all good.
Little buddy.
I will say this, though. My only other thing, by the way, about I totally forgot about going to Rampage last week. Guys missed out again. I got a pedicure.
You didn't even invite us, first of all. And then you go and you get pedicures without me?
I will say this. The Friday night trip last week was not planned to Rampage. Our trip was planned to Connecticut.
I know. I heard the excuses.
Oh, did I already explain that? Well, listen, then they saw me and they were like, sir, you've got to be in front of a camera. And I said, okay. I said, you've got it. And now I'm on guest list. Now I'm guest listed. Look at that.
My God.
Anyway, so we're now on the way to, well, actually, Christmas music has started. I was listening to it this morning on the way to school drop-off. It's going to be a long December. I know that much. Kate, you're in white girl heaven at this point.
Oh, my God. I love the holidays. Hell
Straight
yeah.
from pumpkin spice into gingerbread.
Let's go.
Boom.
Boom. Halloween's funny because it's like, it's a new month and a new holiday is in like 3 weeks. Sometimes like a week and a half or 2 weeks from Halloween.
Right.
So I feel like if you have any parties, they have to be the weekend before by default because it's weird to celebrate Halloween on like November 5th or whatever, right? So
right.
It is a quick turnover into holiday season. So I feel like Halloween people get shortchanged, but I don't really give a shit about Halloween. So I say break out, the Christmas decorations November 1st.
Well, our Halloween stuff is still up because Halloween was Monday, and there's no way I was pulling down
No,
decorations on a
that's fair.
Tuesday.
That's fair.
But well, guys,
Ryan's thinking about it real hard. But
I was gonna
When
say,
is the appropriate time to switch decorations? It's something you have to think a lot about.
it's true. It's true.
it was I'd say if it's the weekend, it's easy, right? Then that shit can come down immediately. But on a Monday's tough because you can't do it Tuesday, you
It's
know.
true.
Got to work, and then I'm not doing it after work, so they're just gonna stay up all week. With my luck, they'll stay up all month, just because I'm gonna be like, I don't want to take this down, please.
Do while the
Took me
weather's
forever.
nice. Do while the weather's
Yeah,
nice.
I'll take it down Friday probably. Anyway, guys, you want to talk about Rampage? Just a
Sure.
little bit. Might as well just look at it.
I mean, you were there.
I mean, I lived it, but we
You
can
did.
talk about it. They opened up with Jon Moxley versus Matt Menard, Daddy Magic in a championship eliminator match. Jon Moxley wound up defeating Matt Menard, and then afterwards, Stoke comes out and challenges Mox to step in the ring with the firm's Lee Moriarty, and we saw that match tonight. They did show a nice video package that we saw in the arena about Lee Moriarty and the nickname Tiger Style. And Mox basically starts to say how you made the biggest mistake of your career. We'll see you next week. And now we're off to tonight. And we'll talk about that later. Fun match. And good to see Matt Menard getting a little bit of the rub off Jon Moxley. I mean, didn't really need it. That guy's over like Rover, Daddy Magic.
And his nipples were already hard, so.
You know, if you didn't watch, I don't know if they mentioned it because I didn't actually go back and watch it yet. Like I said, I lived it.
Exactly.
But they did the entrance pre-show, so they did the entrances on YouTube.
Oh.
And so Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Ange came down and they were talking, and then Daddy Magic gets on the mic and he goes, "You want to know what makes my nipples hard? Well, too bad I ain't gonna tell you." It was fantastic. Wasn't gonna tell us.
I bet you if he flicks them, they get hard.
Probably, Schlong. You're probably right. Maybe a cold, cool breeze.
Well, apparently it doesn't have to be that chilly. It can be the Caribbean air because they're going on the Jericho cruise, which he and a promos that makes his nipples hard. So
They are.
they're excited.
They are going on the Jericho cruise, and I'm sure that'll get his nipples hard. Let's see. After that, they tell us a world title eliminator tournament is coming. Finals are going to take place at Full Gear, so we got another tournament to look forward to, fellers. And they announced Dante Martin for that tournament, so we at least have one name. And they said we'll get to it tonight, but they said they're going to announce more Friday night at Rampage. There
Ricky
was
Starks and Will Hobbs better be in that thing. That's all I'm saying.
Very true. I would also love to see All Ego Ethan Page in that.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about All Ego. Let's see. There was a Jade Cargill video where she was working out, and all I said to Mrs. Money was, how is she talking and doing pull-ups? Because I would just be like struggling the whole time.
Yes.
I can't even do a pull-up.
No.
Let
I
alone
can't do
talk and do a pull-up.
I can barely just hold the bar.
Yeah. I dangle at best.
I'm out of breath talking.
Yeah, I just don't even understand how that worked. But she's looking for Nyla Rose, so we know what's going to happen there. Keith Lee had a match against poor Serpentico. He just gets mushed.
Yes, he does.
And then Shivani comes out to interview Keith Lee, but the Acclaimed interrupt. Unfortunately, no rap. Daddy Ass is missing, and Swerve appears on the video screen. They asked Keith Lee if he knew anything about where Daddy Ass was. Keith says no. Swerve appears on the video screen, and it's like a horror movie. He basically tells Daddy Ass he's not going to be able to scissor when his fingers don't work, and he takes some pliers to his fingers. Keith Lee didn't know anything about this. He's very distraught. But we did get to see Keith Lee throw Serpentico around.
It's all that matters.
That's right. Tay Mello defeated Madison Rayne. We got a lot of disgusting making out. I can tell you this, guys. What doesn't translate on television is the amount of times they're talking to each other during the match saying I love you. It's kind of funny. Like when you're there and they're like talking to each other and he's like, I love you, babe. And she like stops what she's doing. She's like, I love you. It's pretty funny. It was pretty funny. And also two things that popped me in the crowd, Kate. One was somebody who yelled, Sammy, look out, it's Eddie. And then people chuckled, and like 5 minutes later, Sammy, behind you, it's Andrade, which also was pretty funny. Sammy did not react to any of that.
Wise man.
Yes. Ethan Page interviewed backstage, talking shit on MJF and crediting the firm for the success. We find out Mike Tyson's returning to the commentary on Friday Night Rampage. Holy shit, that'll be amazing. And then we were into our main event. And we got into Wardlow versus Matt Taven. Again, you guys, well, Kate, you know, because we were there at Final Battle, the finalist of all final battles to be battled. Maria Kanellis is stunning there live and in front of you. I also had a little interaction with Mike Kanellis. He was coming out and people were, booing Matt Taven, and he's basically like, Wardlow, and I think I yelled something to the effect of like, no way, it's all Matt Taven tonight. And he turned around and looked at me and goes, I know, right? And I was like, yes.
He was at my last Yowza gig, as we'll call it moving forward. Yeah. He did a workshop before and was just like the nicest dude, and the match that was put together between him and his competitor too, who's great. His name's Big Bill Collier. Like, just what a class act dude. Like, I know he has a really inspirational like Twitter persona and stuff, but like just seemed authentically like the nicest dude. I went and said like, is there anything that you want me to get over? I always try and ask when there's talent available, like, what's your finisher called, or do you have any matches coming up? Like, what can I get over? Should I be saying yowza at a certain spot in your match? Like,
right.
Trying to be responsible about it. And I went up to him and was like, don't mean to interrupt or whatever. And he was just like the nicest dude and like thanked me for doing that. And like, was just the coolest guy. And like, people were just, what did you think of your time in WWE? He was like, it was great. Like, I wish I was used more, but I'm really thankful for my time. That like, and sincerely, like, it wasn't a bunch of cheese dick stuff. Right. Like, just seemed like sincerely the most awesome guy. So I'm so happy that he gets to have a full-time TV job. Like, that's awesome. Good for him.
Yeah. Listen, they were great. I thought Matt Taven looked great in his AEW television debut. Wardlow wound up coming away with the win, 4 power bombs with the Symphony. And then Bennett comes in after the match and goes after Wardlow's bad leg, because they were going after Wardlow's leg during the match. Samoa Joe comes to make the save. And then Bennett gets tossed out of the ring, and that's when Hobbs comes down to the ring. The Embassy is able to sneak in the back and get to Wardlow.
How we like it.
Mojo. That's right. Embassy sneaking in the back.
That's right. Consensually.
Right. I mean, that's a better lead-in for episode 69. But anyway.
Sure.
So the Embassy makes the attack, and the show ends with Brian Cage holding up the Ring of Honor TV title as Rampage goes off the air. I will say this. I also had a nice little interaction with Brian Cage. Brian Cage is coming out, out of the ring, sort of where we're sitting. And I yelled, "Who betta?" And he turned around and said, "Nobody betta." And I said, "That's right."
He looks since he's come back, I think he's been doing his best work.
I'm not gonna lie. We saw him. I think during the early portion of the night.
Okay.
I think we did. If they didn't air it this week, maybe they just got it on tape for next week or something. I don't know, but I swear we saw Cage twice on Friday night. And honestly, we did see Cage because he fought with the tag team, Khan and Tongaloa or whatever. I can't remember their name.
Gates of Agony or whatever.
The Masters of Disaster. Yeah, the Gates of Agony. So there was a trios match. And yeah, I have to agree with you, Kate. As much as I really am not a huge fan of Brian Cage and his sort of like persona, his in-ring work has been turning me a little bit right now. And this is why I get upset with Brian Cage a little bit, because this happened last time. Is he had a number of matches where I was like, I'm all right, I'm impressed. This looks good. And then it was like he took 4 steps back his next match. So I just, I don't know what his story is, but right now he's been impressing me. I know that much.
Can someone tend to the
yeah,
chat,
I'm
please?
taking care of that.
Thank you.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think opponent size has been something that's good for him. Like, he looked really good against Wardlow. He looked really good against Samoa Joe. Like, maybe it's something to do with that. And part of it wasn't his fault. Part of it was just turning him face was a really, really dumb move on AEW's part. Like, just didn't... I won't say dumb move because I don't think they knew what it was going to be yet. But him working face did not work the first time around that they did that. So...
Yeah. I mean, listen. When they get Ring of Honor television ironed out, he's going to be great there on weekly television. The snippets that he's been involved in AEW have been good. And sometimes I feel like with a guy like him, sometimes less is more. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to see them trot him out every week. But he's just been really good. And I think when they get him in Ring of Honor on television, it'll be good because he'll be one of their big guys. And he's sort of got this faction built around him. And they won't need to trot him out every week. He can still do this sort of schedule that he's on. But, it's just who knows how far away we are. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing. I'm hoping that it's the new year when we get some sort of Ring of Honor television, because they're doing Final Battle. And then we got to get into 2023. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I've really enjoyed what I've seen out of Brian Cage.
Me too. And I'm happy for him.
So that's been fun.
Good on him.
So that brings us to the end of Rampage, and now we're going to be at Dynamite. So I want to take a short break because I need to get a beverage. My, my butler is not here right now. I let him go before, so I got to get my own drink.
No VSK for you?
No, not today. So I'm going to go grab a drink. I want to take a short break here, and I figured while at least we're still on the Shining Wizards network, we can tell people about the other shows that are part of the network.
Sure.
It gives us a break, and it gives everybody else a break. And as Schlong and I think we're talking before, Kate, you weren't here. We've already said we know when we buy this network out, it's going to be a merger of the same proportion as HBO Discovery. Sure. We are just taking the axe to things, and we're not even going to flinch. But we do certainly know that there are going to be some shows that make the cut.
Sure.
We already said Turnbuckle throwbacks. Safe.
We'll keep
Wrestling Night, safe. Radioactive Metal, absolutely safe. Shining Wizards, TBD. We'll figure. But why don't you guys listen to some of the other shows that are part of the network? We're going to take a little break. Make sure you stick with us. We're going to talk about Dynamite tonight, and Kate's got a lot of griping she's going to do. So if you like griping Kate, this is your night. Stay tuned.
Boy.
We will be right back.
Everyone knows a lot of things can change in the span of 10 years. But when it comes to professional wrestling podcasting, one thing is still guaranteed. The Shining Wizards is the only place to get all the latest wrestling news, interviews with the greatest guests, and of course, tons of laughs in discussing the world of wrestling. The show is still available on Monday nights at 7 p.m. East on rantdmradio.com and Rant Entertainment Media on the TuneIn app. And it's still available on all podcasting platforms. To check us out, head over to shiningwizards.com, where it's still wrestling talk and talk about wrestling.
Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night. This station and hundreds of other radio and TV stations throughout this part of the country are pooling their resources through an emergency network hookup to keep you informed of all developments.
Horns up, everyone. One on the Shining Wizards Network. Be sure every Friday to check out Radioactive Metal. Radioactive Metal is one of the longest running podcasts on the interweb. And every week we bring you a fist full of metal, including interviews with all your favorite artists, discuss all the metal news, and feature the best tunes on the air today. So grab a Lemmy, join your cool Uncle Snowy and co-host Aaron in the pit.
Your recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment broadcasting from the current to the way back. Join the impact player Phil Brea and the Portuguese man of war Choppy for the Turnbuckle Throwbacks Wrestling Podcast. Live every week on rantemradio.com. Get all our episodes over at iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Audio Boom, Google Play, ShiningWizardsNetwork.com, and TurnbuckleThrowbacks.com.
Are you tired of being told what to think and believe by Hollywood elites and politicians who just don't care about you?
Tired of not getting the truth when you watch the news?
Tired of trying to figure out what pronoun to use?
Tired of mob mentality when all you want to do is think for yourself and make up your own mind?
That's where we come in. This is Justin.
And Vince.
Your host of Inconclusive Breakdown.
We are a weekly anti-PC podcast bringing you entertainment and current event news without any spin.
If you want to truly stay informed on what's going on in the world, then give us a listen every Sunday, anywhere you get podcasts, at least till Zuckerberg and Twitter Jack deplatform us.
And as always, we're proud members of the Shining Wizards Network.
Tired of the PC police telling you what you can and cannot say? Want a show that travels back to the 80s and 90s, where the badass hosts have beaten down cancel culture on 3 separate occasions and carried on to gloat about it? Since 2013, the Midnight Jury is that show. Travel back to the malls and arcades, pop in your VHS, and join us where the 80s and 90s return from the dead. Conan, tell them where to find us.
WLWstudios.com, home of the Midnight Jury podcast, hosted by Midnight Mike and Calvin Brody.
Also available on all major podcast platforms via the Shining Wizards Network, and join in the conversation on Twitter at Midnight Jury.
What's up, wrestling fans? You want something awesome? Check out Wrestling Night in Canada here on the Shining Wizards Network. We're 3 Canadian metalheads uniting for the love of pro wrestling. Every episode we go over all the latest news and special events with the odd unique interview as well. So grab a cold one and check out Wrestling Night in Canada, eh?
Well, some of us are back. I can't tell if... Well, Kate's here. I can't tell if anybody else is here.
How can you not tell? I'm thinking very hard.
Oh, sorry. I thought your camera was frozen. Sorry. I just wanted to be sure, Ryan. I don't want to...
I'm just thinking very hard about what we were talking about.
Okay. Well, here's what I'm talking about. I'm letting everybody know that they can follow us on all of our social platforms at Mark Order Pod. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Sorry, I thought I was interrupting. It's hard when I can't see if he's saying anything.
I know, it's rough.
Anyway, so find us on our social accounts, and if you'd like to support us, go to our social accounts in the link tree in our bios. You can click that little button that says request free stickers. I think it says request free stickers, but there is a sticker button. Just click that and then give us your full name, your full mailing address, and the country you live in, and we will send you out some of these free Mark Order Podcast stickers so that you can stick them wherever you like and support us. And listen, I'm just going to let you know, Ryan has said numerous times, stick them up your yeah, and I know what he's talking about. He said, I'll tell you where to stick them. Stick them up your yeah. And I'm like, Ryan, these are people who support us. We shouldn't talk about them like that. And he's like, they don't have to know what kind of monster I really am. And I said, Schlong, you shouldn't be saying this because I'll probably accidentally say it on air.
And then I tell you that I did it all for the nookie.
Okay. Well, then it makes sense.
Living for Ryan's background of himself over Jeff Jarrett.
Fantastic.
I don't have to see the Jeff Jarrett part. It's great.
Well,
who's, by the way, all elite. He's their new director of business development.
Is he? Is he really? I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
No, for real. For real. He just got the graphic. Let me pull it up and make sure it wasn't like a fake account or some dumb shit.
I mean, people were mistaken before, by the way. I saw people sharing a fake Tony Khan. No, it's real. It's from Tony Khan. People were sharing a fake Tony Khan tweet that said, I can't wait. Tonight's secret opponent is Cassius Ohno, or whatever his name was in Ring of Honor. And I was like, people, you just have to look at the @. It wasn't even like at Tony Khan. It wasn't
there's
even
one that's like Tony Khan with an M.
Yeah, it was like not even close. Well, we'll have this to share in a few minutes, but anyway, let's talk about Dynamite. And we lead off tonight with Darby Allin versus Jay Lethal. So they hyped up the card before we even got into the show, and then we go into Darby Allin versus Jay Lethal. Kate, interesting thing. I said, are they actually going to lead with Marina Shafir and Jade Cargill? Because they didn't even mention it in the hype up. They didn't even show the card. And then they went into Darby Allin, Jay Lethal. They couldn't even mention it.
Did not even mention it.
They were like, mention a woman at the top of the show? Yuck.
In this economy?
They were like, the bears can smell the menstruation. We're not talking about it.
Now you're putting the whole company in danger, Ant.
You see that? Bears. So we do lead off with Darby Allin versus Jay Lethal. And remember, folks, this was after a couple weeks ago. Darby Allin was attacked by Jay Lethal. And Jay Lethal said that we have somebody who knows your weakness, and he'll be there, or he'll show up, or he alluded to the fact this guy or gal was going to be there. So he comes down to the ring, and there's nobody else there. We get through the match, and Jay Lethal does win by pinfall with the lethal injection, but he only gets to the lethal injection because Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh are at ringside. They're distracting. So finally, after the entire match, basically, Remsburg throws them out. And as he is dealing with them to get up the ramp, a man who is dressed as Sting is able to hit Darby in the stomach with a baseball bat. It gets him down. He's thrown into the ring, lethal injection. And post-match, this Sting, quote-unquote, gets him to the ring. And that's when Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh hug him, and they take the mask off to reveal, dun-dun-dun, it's fucking Cole Carter. What a surprise. But it gets better. Sting's music plays, and Sting isn't there. But Jeff fucking Jarrett is there. That's right. Jeff is in the ring with his guitar, and he gives him the old El Kabong right in the skull. And that sends Darby out. And then, that's right, folks, we get a Double J promo on the mic telling Darby Allin he's got a lesson from the last outlaw coming, and whatever he worships becomes his weakness. And as Darby Allin's head is lying in a pool of blood, Jeff Jarrett says that Sting has become Darby's greatest weakness, and he calls out the locker room and every bozo and clown all the way up to production down to the rabid, delusional AEW fan base. He says that his family got into the wrestling business in 1946 for over 75 years. Wherever the Jarretts went, they left an impact. That's a pun that Ryan's gotta love.
Impact.
And he says he's a 2-time Hall of Famer, 12-time heavyweight champion. From day one, his fingerprints have been all over AEW. But before
fucking cares.
Hey, before he's done with that place, there's gonna be body bags, and we can all choke on that. Slap nuts. Thank you so much. And as Kate so kindly pointed out, we did get the graphic here tonight. Tony Khan saying, welcome to AEW Dynamite and the new Director of Business Development, Real Jeff Jarrett. Look forward to expanding the AEW live events calendar in 2023, plus in future years with JJ and the entire team. So I didn't see that before, Kate, but maybe that sort of, for me, could mean that maybe Jeff Jarrett will somehow be involved, even though it says AEW, with Ring of Honor. They're looking to expand their live calendar, so they're clearly going to have more live dates.
Off
Rampage
TV is fine. You want to stay backstage, Pumpkin Patch? Beautiful.
Listen, but this is leading to one thing. It's clear this is leading to one thing. Sting and Darby Allin versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. That's it.
Isn't Darby Allin a pillar or whatever?
He got built into a wall, but they didn't realize that they don't go into that side of the house anymore.
Then what the fuck are we doing with this angle? Okay, before we even let's dissect this whole thing. The match is fine. I actually like when Darby looks smarter and not like he's on a suicide mission and then fighting from underneath. Like he had some really fun counters in this, and that was fine. Jay Lethal's fine, whatever. Like he's kind of boring. His finisher is stupid, but he's good in the ring. Great.
Your finisher is stupid.
No.
His finisher is fine.
Why are you doing a front handspring or a back handspring for no reason?
It's the lethal part of the injection.
It slows you
And what
down.
it does is slows it down and makes it obvious.
Yeah, slows it down, gives your opponent forever to adjust. No, it's dumb.
It got countered. Darby countered it tonight.
Yeah, he scouted it the first time. This Cole Carter shit is okay.
It was a swerve, bro.
Ricky Starks. The Ricky Starks face turn was some of the best wrestling I've ever seen ever. Right? The Danhausen and the hook thing, and then him turning face with everything he said, and then the Hobbs. Some of the best pro wrestling I've ever seen. This was some of the dumbest pro wrestling I've ever seen. The idea that Darby Allin, who's been working with Sting for over a year or so, wouldn't be able to tell the difference between tiny-ass Cole Carter dressed up in Sting cosplay and actual Sting as a move of deception when he wasn't really even on camera, and I can tell, is bullshit. The reveal of
I think we've got a thing here, Kate. You got to remember, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but you're forgetting a very important part. Darby's apparently an idiot.
Darby is a complete dumbass, evidently. I don't know if there's a dumber move that you could make than taking an unknown talent from a stable that is rarely on TV and barely promoted and putting him on a stable that people barely care about in a big reveal. How are you expecting anything other than the deafening silence, which you completely earned today, for that?
They wanted that deafening silence.
They wanted that. That was planned.
What the fuck?
They swerved you. You got
I
taken.
was not swerved. I was not swerved in the slightest.
You were a
by
bit
this.
swerved.
You
You
thought it
didn't
was
see
Cole
Jeff
Carter.
Jarrett coming.
So did I. I had no idea Jeff Jarrett was coming. That's a complete surprise.
You can think of a better surprise than this.
Listen,
What the fuck was this?
I could tell you one thing. If you're Jeff Jarrett, you're having one fucking hell of a year.
Yeah,
You've
thanks,
appeared in-
Effie.
You've appeared in GCW.
This is all Effie's fault.
It
It is all Effie's fault and credit. Nobody had Jeff Jarrett's name in their fucking mouth before Effie did this angle with Jeff Jarrett at GCW. Nobody gave a fuck. And
the
then he
Star
got-
Maker did. There you go. Boom. Schlong hit it before I got there. The Star Maker, Conrad Thompson, had his name in his mouth. He appeared in GCW. He appeared in the E. He was part of Ric Flair's final match, quote unquote.
I don't give a flying fuck about this corny ass spelling guitar breaking fetish fucking nerd. And here's why. I started watching in 2009, right? And I try my best to go back and watch old matches and research old, like, people from before I was watching, and I take suggestions, and never. I understand this guy's been employed at a lot of places for a long time. Good for him. Not once has someone mentioned a Jeff Jarrett title reign, a Jeff Jarrett match, a Jeff Jarrett angle. Literally never. And I am like pretty regularly asking for, hey, what's some classic shit I can go watch? Give me WCW stuff. I really only knew WWF, WWE. Nobody mentions this guy's fucking name because he's just a carny and he's so mediocre. Who gives a shit about Jeff Jarrett? He's not getting anybody over anymore. Other people are getting his carny ass over. Who could possibly care? Darby Allin being wrapped up in a storyline with Sting, God bless him, but Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, this is what you have for your former mid-card title holder who's supposed to be a pillar of your company. This is what we're doing with Darby Allin's time, who almost kills himself every match. We're going to waste it on Jeff fucking Jarrett. And the Cole Carter shit is unbelievable to me. You're taking a young talent you apparently see some sort of promise in, switching him from one faction that nobody gave a shit about to this. So somebody you actually think has a future, you're sacrificing him for a Jeff Jarrett angle? This was the dumbest shit ever. So dumb. So dumb. And good for him for being employed a bunch. Wow, you kept a job. Great for you. You're not Jericho. It's not like he reinvented himself to stay relevant. It's not like he has super memorable title reigns. He's not nobody's Mount Rushmore. Nobody gives a shit about Jeff Jarrett.
Well, hold on.
What are we doing?
In fairness to Jeff Jarrett, and this is what I'm going to say, he may not have reinvented himself, but he invented an entire fucking company for himself. So you got to give him that.
True.
Sure, I have no problem with him on the business dev side. That's fine. Him being on my screen calling people clowns and bozos when you have a bloated roster is a complete waste of my time and an insult to them. This is just trash.
Listen, Slapnuts, your shirt does not fit you tonight.
Listen, Bag. It's not even the best, like, nether region insult on the show or reference. Right in the yam bag is so much better than calling somebody Slapnuts.
All I can tell you is this. If there's one thing I know about Jeff Jarrett, he spends his days working hard on the go. Oftentimes, the hands on the clock keep moving too slow, and he just can't wait to be alone with his baby tonight. So
this is how unmemorable this corny motherfucker is. You're reading the lyrics there. The one thing he's known for, you couldn't even memorize because he's so fucking forgettable.
Kate, it's
This
doing
guy sucks. Who cares?
It's doing the job. It's doing the job. You have to realize, you talking about it like this, it's exactly what it's supposed to be doing. And
No, this is go home shit. I don't give a
it is just
Oh.
trying to get to Sting and Darby versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, and then it's
Who is
over.
that doing a favor for?
Sting.
Oh yeah, Sting needs some help getting over.
It's just to get them in the ring together. That's it.
Oh.
It's for fucking Full Gear. That's all it is.
I know. I spent a good deal of money to sit in a suite and watch this shit. And whenever everyone's like, "Oh, you're always complaining about the women's division. You want another match? What would you cut to have a second match?" This bullshit. This is the bullshit I would cut off my screen. I would rather watch Ty Mello take a shit than watch any of this. This was
Listen,
so
a
fucking
lot of guys
stupid.
would rather watch Tay Mello take a shit. So
It's
you're
true.
not saying anything crazy there. That's not a hot take. That's a hot
This is
doozy.
a waste of Darby Allin's bumps and my time. This is
No.
so stupid.
Schlong, what did you think about this?
Who cares?
Sorry, I'm bitch. I'm just singing my song, but listen, we do have to look at this in two different ways.
No, we don't.
First, yes, we do, and I said so. You do have to take the business of him being in the back out. That's
That's
a
really
separate-
what he's there to do.
Yeah,
To get him
because
off my screen.
From what I understand, he was actually pretty. He's done the live event stuff before and was pretty good at it. And if they are expanding between ROH and some AEW stuff, it
Even
does
house
make
shows.
sense.
They might do house shows.
Yeah, it does make sense to bring someone like him on board who has the experience because they're going to be lacking some of that. On screen, I gotta say this carefully. If this is only a couple week run, fine, whatever. I can enjoy it. If this is extended in any way, shape, or form, hit me over the head with a guitar and make sure it's electric.
Serpentico tweeted, "Effie, what have you done?" That's fantastic.
All I know is that he's there to do like two things on screen. One is smash somebody over the head with a guitar, and the other thing is to get people to have this type of reaction. That's it. Playing into the hand.
No, because it's not actual heat. It's what the fuck are you doing with Darby Allin's time? This isn't like, I hate this guy so much because he's such a great character. This is, why are you wasting spots like this when you have a bloated roster? Like, Eddie Kingston wasn't on my screen tonight. Ricky Starks wasn't on my screen tonight. In 2022, I have seen Billy Gunn on television and I've seen Jeff Jarrett on television in the same episode, and not Ricky Starks, not Eddie Kingston.
Whoa.
Well,
Billy Gunn on television is been some great shit.
And I have to sort of play devil's advocate here. They're not appearing by themselves. They're appearing with the talent.
Billy
who's
Gunn's
really
at least
there.
in an act that's like getting over. I don't think Jeff Jarrett is helping get anybody else over. This is just him getting himself over. If he's a business development director, fine. If this lasts past Full Gear, I mean, it's already eating up time on the road to a pay-per-view. Like,
Well, they got to fill 4 hours. 5 hours. You got the free pre-show or whatever they call it, the buy-in.
the buy-in.
And then you've got 8 to midnight. That's the pay-per-view. So they got to fill 4 hours.
I feel like Sting could jump off a table for a better story.
And he will through Jeff Jarrett.
And through a guitar.
It's just,
Yeah, if you think that that guitar won't come into play.
Yo, that guitar fucked Darby Allin up.
You look at some of his guitar shots, they're fucking vicious.
But there was blood.
Oh yeah.
good. Yeah, let's do this, because let's waste those shots for Jeff Jarrett in 2022. I did love the bump legitimately of Darby Allin flying into Satnam Singh's shoulder and bouncing off like a toy.
Yes.
That was incredible.
There were a number of things with Satnam Singh that I enjoyed in this match. The first point where he ran interference for Jay Lethal, and Darby gets out of the ring, and literally Jay Lethal steps out from behind Satnam Singh and punches, gets Darby. I was like, perfect because this guy is gigantic. It's like hiding behind a wall.
Yes.
So that was perfect.
That
And
makes
then
sense.
yes, when Darby did the suicide dive through the ropes and literally just bounced off Satnam Singh, that was a holy shit moment for me. I was just like, holy fuck, this guy's huge.
Yeah,
Listen.
he is enormous. And it makes him look good while he's not wrestling. Like, that's cool.
Oh, of course. And listen, I know I'm probably in the minority. I love this whole fucking thing. Total Swerve didn't have I didn't have Jeff Jarrett on any bingo card. So I'm the loser of the night because he wasn't anywhere close to being on the card for me. But again, my anticipation for this is it's just to get Darby and Sting versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, and they've already worked together this year against Ric Flair in his final match. So they know what they're doing.
That's my real concern.
What, Ric Flair having another match?
Andrade returning with Ric Flair is a concern of mine.
Listen, if Ric Flair showed up in AEW, it would steal headlines. It would be big news.
I don't think Tony's stupid enough to watch him wrestle. I think most people who actually watch that are disgusted.
No, I don't disagree. But if he showed up on TV, it would have people talking.
Yeah. I'm just like, cool.
So.
And Jeff Jarrett's a little different because he will work in the office. You can't have Flair work in the office.
No.
Yeah. He can be backstage with anyone.
All right, folks, let's keep moving. They recapped the split between MJF and the Firm last week. Moxley cuts a promo talking about how much he loves the atmosphere in Baltimore. And it's another night for him. It's a career changer for Moriarty, and he talks about how, why he wasn't really good enough to make it into the Blackpool Combat Club. So they're building to that match, coming tonight. Again, just a Moxley promo, what you expect out of Moxley at this point. I don't have to stop there unless you guys want to say something specific to what he said. I thought it was perfect, though.
No, yeah, this was perfectly tuned to what the match and story are.
So after that promo, commentary throws it to the break, but we get a production, what looks like a vignette of like a production error, showing the Elite winning the promo or winning the trios titles, and then basically the video stops. Somebody editing video deletes the footage of the Elite winning the trios title, and they splice in Death Triangle's video package of them winning the trios titles. They then pull in basically like a live card, image. It had the Elite on it at the front, but they replace it with Death Triangle, and then All Elite AEW pops up, and the Elite and the E disappear from that card. So again, folks, I loved this goddamn video. Much like last week's where they were erasing the Elite from the history. This is another moment where they're erasing the Elite from the immediate history of AEW. And clearly we are building here to what can only be a return match for those trios titles at Full Gear. That's what everybody seems to think is happening, and I will surely welcome that. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, for no other reason than to just have the trios titles kind of mean something again. Like, it would be nice to get that back on track, but I think the vignettes are really cool. I would also accept that this leads to a big feud with Brandon Cutler and that he's the one doing all the editing, that they had no intentions of being edited out of the program, but Brandon Cutler is actually the one deleting them from everything.
That would be a pretty cool concept. I kind of like that.
Very, very sneaky.
Schlong, you have anything you want to add about the video package? I know you're a little depressed right now.
A little sad. I'm a sad panda.
Got a no-hit panda, my friend.
I know, they got fucking no-hit after getting 7 runs on it before. Anywho, no, nothing to add. I like where this is going. That's all. I hope it is a Brandon Cutler feud. That'd be hilarious.
Right?
Well, We move on and we get our Jon Moxley versus Lee Moriarty match. All Ego Ethan Page was on commentary for this. Let's cut to the finish, guys. Moxley is able to win by submission with the cross armbar choke or something like that. I don't remember what they called it. And then post match, Ethan Page hits the ring and lays Moxley out and then he's just kind of left there. So clearly Ethan Page, has an issue with Mox. Ethan Page spent some time talking about on commentary MJF being a liar because he's absolutely got to use that ring during the match to win. They were also sort of asking Ethan Page who he'd want to fight for the title if he had to choose. And he was also playing nice, saying if Lee won the title, that would be fine because at least it stays in with the firm. So he's got an ego, but he's not stupid, right? He sees it in the faction. He thinks it's a good thing. But guys, all I know is that Ethan Page on commentary, Ethan Page hitting the ring afterwards, I just want to see some more Ethan Page somewhere. And I think we're probably going to get it. Maybe next week we'll have Mox versus Ethan Page. Maybe Ethan Page is just going to be entered into the Eliminator tournament and get a shot at whoever the champion is after the fact. Which, if you ask me, they're sort of setting this up like it doesn't matter if it's Mox or MJF. He'll take anybody. So, could be good.
It's hard to get Ethan Page on TV where you have to make way for bigger, more relevant stars like Jeff fucking Jarrett on my television. But he was awesome on commentary. Tonight.
Schlong, you have anything you want to add about that backhanded Jeff Jarrett compliment?
Okay, Catherine. Match was fun. Lee Moriarty's awesome. I'm glad he's getting his shine. Ethan Page was great on commentary. I like that he's part of a conversation for a world title, at least for a few seconds. I still think we're going to get the ultimate swerve that the firm is with MJF, and that's how MJF gets the title. But at least he's talking about it because he's at that level. So no, this was great. This was really good stuff. It was good to follow up great. We had great in Jeff Jarrett, so it was good to follow up great with some good.
I really liked when Ethan Page mentioned that Lee Moriarty had wrist tape on and that he's not normally like a violent guy that does wrist tape, but he knew the battle that he was going into with Mox. I thought that was a really, really insightful touch to this. And I didn't even mention that the match was great. I thought the match was great. Lee Moriarty is someone that could also use more TV time than, say, Jeff Jarrett.
Well, in the scheme of things, Lee Moriarty did get more screen time than Jeff Jarrett. So we did have that.
Just saying on the whole, if in 3 months from now, that's not reversed.
Feels good on the whole.
Preparation H does feel good on the whole. We're really throwing back the movie references tonight. Really from a period of time. So let's see. After this, we go to Renee Paquette's sit down with Saraya and Britt Baker, or do we? Because Britt Baker does not show up to the sit down. So even though she's not there, Renee wants to use the time wisely. So she talks about, she asked Saraya to kind of talk about everything. And Saraya says, she talks about wanting to come to AEW since it started. And it looked the place that everybody wanted to be. And it was a matter of working the timing out. She thinks she can help the women's division out. Renee addresses her injury and retirement, but Saraya says, I want to save it for next week because there is one more doctor she wants to consult before making any sort of announcement. And then they go to break. So clearly she wants to meet with head AEW, Dr. What's-his-face? I can't remember his name.
Samson?
Yes, Dr. Sampson, that's it. Sorry, I keep forgetting his name. But that's clearly who she's talking about. There's no other doctor that I know of.
That one that I could think of.
No. There's
Dr.
a dentist.
Guys.
Yes.
How could you both be missing this?
Yes.
Clearly, Dr. Isaac Yankem, DDS, is coming back.
No, he's being a shithead on Twitter, unfortunately.
That's honestly the only reason it was going through my head.
It also could have been Dr. Luther.
That's a very good point.
Could be Dr. Luther. Don't know. So Britt Baker not showing up for the interview. It's disappointing. Wonder if we'll ever get to hear from Britt Baker. But listen, I liked what we saw out of Saraya, right? She talked about wanting to go over, feeling like she can help the division, even though the division's in a good shape, in a good space. And again, they're sort of teasing the fact that she's medically cleared, which she clearly will be. But we'll find out sort of what happens next week. I like this. I don't have anything else to say about it. I also like the fact that Britt Baker couldn't, be bothered to sit down. And we'll return to Britt Baker. But
It'd be the worst fucking swerve in the world if she was like, "No, I'm actually not medically cleared. I can't wrestle."
No, they couldn't.
I know, but
Simply
could you just
could,
fucking imagine? If they're like, you can't do it. Sorry, guys, can't do it.
yeah, actually, she's not cleared. She can do light bumps, but that's it.
Yeah, she's just like around the ring or something.
Yes, she can be ringside, but not in ring.
Guys, Renee is so good. Renee is so
Yes.
just quickly has, just like from the day she showed up, she's just so natural with these, and she's so good in any environment. Like it's really, really impressive. But I like this. You can tell these two know each other really well. It was, I think, the most comfortable Saraya's looked in a really long time. Just felt like a very easy conversation to watch. I really liked it. And I think that's going to be really fun. I think her versus Britt is like a good non-title direction to lean in. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Also makes me wonder if Jamie Hayter is going to go over.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about Jamie Hayter as we get a little bit further on in the show. But yeah, I got mixed thoughts about Jamie Hayter. Not anything with her. I think she's fantastic, but I've got mixed thoughts on sort of where they're going with Jamie Hayter. As far as Renee goes, I saw this somewhere earlier. Now, this is something I have to check all the facts, but I saw somewhere rumor is that one of the Shivani boys, not Tony, one of his boys actually is now working at AEW in production and is apparently working on the Renee segment. I think he used to be involved with production at some news network, and now he's working at AEW. So again, I'd have to check the facts on that, or maybe somebody in the chat knows, but that's the word on the street. That would be pretty cool. It's becoming, like they have people tied to, if that's the case, having certain producers or production people tied to the talent like that can make these segments feel like really, tightened up instead of just having sort of everybody running around doing everything. So that'd be fantastic if that's exactly what they're trying to do.
I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry, my question is trumping all questions right now.
Okay.
I don't think a pitcher can claim a no-hitter when he only goes 6 innings.
It's a combined no-hitter.
Yeah, that's fine. I got no problem if you want to say a combined no-hitter. But I saw some online where the pitcher's like, "Oh, I knew I'd throw a no-hitter," but you only threw 6 innings.
No, yeah, that's not a no-hitter. That's a combined no-hitter.
Yeah, which I'm
you
I have no
as
issue
the individual did not throw the no-hitter.
I have no problem with saying the Astros made history by combined no-hitting the Phillies. Absolutely did that. But that pitcher can't say he threw a no-hitter in the World Series. He only threw 6 innings.
He didn't throw 27 outs.
No. Okay, it was really bothering me, so I had to bring it up.
Well, my equally as important question was going to be that I actually tweeted something really important at Renee Paquette, and she responded, which was, "What is your skincare routine? You're glowing like an angel with the dewy skin of a newborn." And she said she uses a vitamin C serum at night, and that she's cut out a lot of the booze. So if you're wondering how to make your skin glow like an angel, because damn it, the woman looks great, cut back on the booze. You're gonna want to use a vitamin C serum. So
I'm glad she cut back on the booze since her husband has a problem.
I'm sure that's a part of it. I'm sure.
But of course, listen, Kate, I could have told you. I mean, look at this. It's very Hollywood.
I just feel like you've been a little secretive about your glowing skin. That's
no, of course. Vitamin C, some anti-aging serum, not a whole lot, but it keeps the crow's feet at bay.
Okay. Sometimes you're just so Hollywood. I didn't know if you would be willing to share.
Of course. You just got to check in. That's all you got to do.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. We get William Regal interview backstage, and he's just saying how MJF showed him he's got a long way to go to be a true villain, and at Full Gear, he's going to meet the real demon in Jon Moxley. So again, we're building to Full Gear. Regal's great. I don't have anything else to say about this. I fucking love William Regal. I think he's doing fantastic.
Just great. Just like great since he's come over to AEW. So great at making sense of everything and making everything feel personal.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it doesn't matter to me at this point what they do with William Regal. If he's doing an interview like this, he's fantastic. If he's doing an in-ring promo like he had with MJF a couple weeks ago, fantastic. If he's on commentary, he is killer on commentary. So I just fucking love William Regal. I think he's doing a fantastic job. And again, sometimes you just have to sit back and say, what the fuck were they thinking letting go?
Yeah.
These people.
Regal was the biggest head scratcher because when he got let go, like just everybody in WWE was tweeting like there would be no fill-in wrestler's name without William Regal. Like so many people just talked about how imperative and critical he was to top Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, like really, really important names in WWE. So yeah, he was when he got released. I was like, of anybody that's on the market, he's the guy to go get, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they did.
He's been paying off dividends.
Valuable. Yeah.
Let's see. Ooh. Gordon Post brings up a good comment here. I got to pull this one up. Can we see Regal turning on Moxley, helping MJF win the title?
I don't think so.
I don't think we're going to see it, but it would be intriguing because of the fact that they've been sort of at each other's throats. You know, Regal basically saying how, like, you've got a long way to go. You're not really all the way here yet, kid. And MJF, you know, being like, you wouldn't give me some of the feedback I wanted when I was, you know, doing it. Like, it could work, but I don't think we're going to see it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it's a bad idea, and I think it could work. I don't think they'll do it. Because I think at some point, if MJF's going to be a champion, sometimes it just has to be the situation where the heel is the better wrestler that night. Like, without cheating, without whatever. Like, sometimes heels are just better at this.
Yeah.
And he needs one of those because he's always
going to cheat. You know,
ducking. And well, even if so, but you know what I mean? Like, he even said, like, a clean match for who he is or whatever. Like, that's fine. That's fine. Moxley cheated in their first bout, so him cheating, I think, is fair.
I think all I can say is that for sure MJF is winning this title at Full Gear. If it doesn't happen, I will really be like, what are we doing? Like, this just doesn't make sense.
Yep.
Anyway, let's move on. We get the Daddy Ass Birthday Bash next up on Dynamite. The Acclaim make their entrance. They're rapping about Billy Gunn's birthday. And Bowens gets on the mic and says that, you know, he's been injured and can't scissor, but they can have a Daddy Ass Birthday Bash without scissoring, which is why they start out with the hot number one gift, foam scissor fingers. So when a snake like Swerve breaks your hands, you can still scissor. Guys, I can tell you this. There's an item up for pre-sale in the AEW Shop AEW store that I will be pre-ordering. And I am absolutely throwing in a pair of scissor fingers. That is going to happen.
What are you pre-ordering?
What do you think I'm pre-ordering?
Whose action figures coming up? I don't know.
No action figures.
A Sheeta shirt.
Nope.
A Riho shirt.
No, it is not a shirt. It's outwear.
It's a jacket.
Yes.
Sting jacket.
What? No. Somebody has a what did they call it? A lightweight Housen jacket coming.
A Lee Moriarty jacket.
Yes, you got it. It's a Tyga style.
A Jeff
jacket.
Jarrett jacket.
Yo, if there was a Jeff Jarrett jacket, I would absolutely
Like his old school one though that lights up.
Oh my god! If it was, listen, if it was like Macho Madness here in the background that was fucking rhinestoned or what's it called, sequin jacket, you know I'd add it to the collection. Come on.
We've been saying for weeks they need to be selling foam fingers.
We did.
Glad they finally figured that out.
Thank you. Because that's exactly what Mrs. Money leaned over and said. Hey, we were just talking about this. And I said, yes.
It's a moneymaker.
It didn't make sense why they didn't have anything like that. For the kids, of course. So now they'll sell scissor fingers. They look like peace signs. It'll work. And everyone loves the Acclaim. Everyone loves Daddy Ass. So they ask who bought gifts. I thought this was a cool moment. They took they were asking who's got gifts or signs or whatever. People put them up, and then they went and took a pair of scissors that some little kid had. Like a cardboard pair of scissors with the birthday hat. They took it from the kid. The kid got a scissor from Max Caster, which that's just a moment. That you'll remember forever. I was scissored by Max Caster.
You always remember your first.
It's true. Especially your first scissor session.
Of course.
And then they decide to
Okay,
present...
let's hear about your first scissors.
Yeah, you want to talk about it, Kate? Hold on, let's turn the lights down.
No, I'm familiar with the internet, and saying the word cum gutters on here is as far as I go.
Anyway. So they do present Billy with those scissors, and then with the scissors, and then they do mention that he is an 11-time tag team champion. He's a 2-time tag team of the year. He's a 2006 worst work segment of all time. But he's a Hall of Famer and a stand-up guy, the world's greatest daddy, and they present him with a world's greatest daddy trophy. I loved the touch of them writing the DY after dad on it in pink. That was perfect. And then Bowen says he's got a lot more plans, special guests from Guns past, but 2 canceled at the last minute, and the others were upset that he didn't go to their reunion. But most importantly, he's been a mentor and a father figure to them, and he's meant the world. So their final gift was they went through a lot of paperwork, and they have a certificate of adoption. He and Caster both have it signed, and all they need is a signature from Billy, and then they're legally a family. And then that's when Kate, your favorites, the Ass Boys, show up. They said they didn't get an invite, must have gotten lost in the mail, because they're his real sons. And then Billy pats the Acclaimed on the back, saying they're my sons. And the Guns said they bought him a gift, and that's when William Morrissey lays out Billy Gunn with a boot. The Ass Boys join in on the Acclaimed and with their dad, and that's when FTR makes the save. And there's clearly an issue here between the FTR and the Ass Boys. So Kate is getting everything she wants. More angles for FTR, more Ass Boys, more daddies, more scissoring. Everything Kate wants was included here.
I love FTR.
Mm-hmm.
What the ever-loving fuck are we doing?
We're getting them down on TV.
Miro is not on my television. Billy Gunn and Jeff Jarrett are getting so much TV time. The Guns, who cares? Who the fuck cares? They are less popular than their dad in 2022. The Guns versus FTR is what we're doing.
Yeah.
The Guns versus FTR is what we're doing.
It'll be great.
It is a stopgap. Clearly, they're doing FTR for the belts. They picked up the belts. They had the drama of holding them. This is what's going to happen. But they're doing a stopgap to give you Acclaimed versus Swerve and Our Glory the third time.
Understand it. Pick Bear Country. Do something for
there's no Bear Country.
Do something for the ROH titles. Do something for your 700 other titles.
I don't understand why you don't like some Ass Boys covered in glitter.
I agree.
Well,
They're
hold on.
fantastic.
Hold on. It's these two specific ass boys. You give me like just the regular boys, Dalton's boys, all day. All day.
Can I sidebar really quick? We did see the Iron Savages on Friday night. They worked dark match.
Were they savage?
They were pretty fucking savage. Holy shit. When it does hit dark, it was pretty impressive to see them throw these poor guys around. But I always get them mixed up. I think it's Bronson really fucking slimmed down.
Yes, that is Bronson.
And he looks fucking fantastic. We actually ran into him on the way out of the casino and got to talk to him for a minute.
Pumping elbows with everyone.
You know, after I, signed my autographs and stuff, we did get to run into Boulder, and he was fantastic. And he's actually going to be in Rawway at I can't remember the name. The WrestlePro, that's it. I was going to say something stupid, but WrestlePro 100, which I'm still thinking about going to.
That's the 12?
I think so. We'll talk after. We'll put it on a calendar.
We'll talk.
Anyway, no, I'm with Kate here, Ryan. I'm with Ryan here, Kate. Sorry. Little dyslexic.
What is going on with you today? This is bizarre world. Ryan's happy about everything. Surprise, surprise. I'm grumpy, and you're like, Jeff Jarrett's all right. The Gun Club's fine.
I love that Kate is more miserable than I am, and my team just lost a game in the World Series.
That's why the Phillies are fucking losers. Because look how you're just happy.
Where are the Yankees?
Not losing in the World Series, and I'm still mad about it. You should be mad about it.
No,
you're the weird one.
Sports don't dictate my life like that.
Yeah, that's what's weird.
I don't have a problem with the Gun Club. I like the fact that they're sort of not with Daddy anymore. And this FTR thing is gonna be a stopgap because at some point FTR is gonna take the titles away. I don't know if they'll take them from the Acclaimed, but they're gonna be the next, they're going to be a title holder so they can have everything at once. I'm not mad about that. I will say this. If you didn't pay attention to that certificate of adoption, you should go back and look at it. I think there was like a little scissor graphic in the corner somewhere. Like it was really, there was some stuff there that I'm sure if we go back and freeze frame it could be really fun. But yeah, I didn't necessarily have a problem with much of this. The funny thing, Kate, is you're saying I need to see more of some of these other guys on TV, and now they're putting the Gun Club on TV, and you don't want to see it.
Yeah, I just don't like them.
I figured, but you do.
It makes wrestling sense. Like fundamentally, that makes wrestling sense. I just, as a matter of taste, don't like it. I would so much rather see, but it's better than them being stuck with Matt Hardy or Andrade in some family office where they're never at least they're on a path that makes sense and they're actually being used properly. I just don't care about them.
Just doesn't like ass boys covered in glitter. I don't understand it.
Well, easy. It's just these two specific ones. And
Apparently,
Austin Gunn, I can at least like sometimes get behind. Colton Gunn, he's like a walking Aaron Boone press conference to me. Just like, just there. Who cares? No emotion. Tuned out.
Apparently, the amount of glitter they had on did not translate to TV because, people who were there said it was very noticeable.
I didn't notice the glitter too much on TV, but I do know that they glitter up now before they go out.
I love that.
I have no problem with it. I think it's a great fucking gimmick.
Oh God.
Me too.
You guys want to just make out on the screen up here?
We could scissor.
All right.
Yo, it's actually kind of tricky to do on StreamYard. I'm not gonna lie.
I always mess up.
Go the opposite,
which way I'm going.
and then the depth perception is also like a little off. It's tricky.
Well, let's move forward a little bit. We do get an update from Britt Baker, who's apparently backstage with Tony Schiavone. That's
Her
right.
interviewer.
Her
Wait,
interviewer.
Who is she? Who is she?
It's Dr. Britt Baker.
Guys.
D.
Guys.
M.D.
Do you think that could be the doctor Saraya was talking about?
No, because I never refer to my dentist as a doctor.
But she calls herself doctor all the time.
Well, she's lying. She's the dentist.
No, dentists call themselves doctors all the time.
Aunt going hard at the doctors.
At the dentists.
You know what a dentist is?
A mouth doctor.
A doctor
Your
who
dentist's
failed out
name
of
is
med
Prentice?
school.
Those who can't do, teach. And those who can't teach Jim. Am I right?
Hey-o.
Those who can't do, Keith.
So Britt Baker's back there with Jamie Hayter, and they said they're tired of all these conspiracies. She wasn't going to show up on anybody else's time on your home court with your own people. So she was there with her own interviewer, Tony Schiavone, and they said they're tired of all this conspiracy stuff. They just want to wrestle. So Friday night, they want a tag team match because they said they're the best tag team in the company or in the world. So something makes me think that at some point they're getting women's tag titles, but who knows?
That's my only complaint about this is I'm like, great, but there's not titles for more of that.
Right, exactly.
But I liked that she has her own interviewer, that it's her company, all that kind of stuff. Like that's
right.
A decent enough story for where we're going, an effective segment.
The best part of it was Tony's reaction when she said, my interviewer, Tony. He was like so proud, like, damn straight I'm the one.
Of course. He loves Britt, and he doesn't have to worry because Adam Cole
Baby.
is not there. So he doesn't
Sorry,
have
he
to
gets a
worry.
minor one because he's out. When he's back, I'll go the full.
Adam Cole definitely was not there.
No. You know, the weird thing with the whole Adam Cole situation, again, don't mean to sort of derail us, but it's almost like nobody fucking knows what's going on. Because anytime you sort of look at the rumor mill of what's going on with Adam Cole, you see it's two extremes and no in between. It's either he's super close, he'll be back soon, or he's never going to wrestle again. There's no in between. It's really fucking frightening if you ask me.
I
The
think
only
it's
thing I'm going to...
intentionally ambiguous so that his surprise will feel enormous. But
It's been a long time.
it has been a very long time for a concussion. A very long time for a concussion.
Shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step two.
Can you move to your right just like 6 inches? No, the other way. Sorry. Like with your chair.
Oh.
I wanted you to tell yourself whatever you're about to say real bad.
Anyway, the only thing I'll say about concussions, one, I'm with Kate. I think it's left purposely ambiguous for the return. But also with concussions, I think they've learned from pro sports, which is do not give a timeline because you're never going to be able to follow that timeline. But the only thing that gives me, I guess, like a little bit of hope is he's still playing video games and all that. And when you hear that guys are really down with concussions, they're not usually able to even do that stuff because the lights and all that. So I'm not saying that's not a medical opinion, but at least it's not so bad that his daily life seems to be affected. But I'm with Kay. I think it's both purposely ambiguous for the return, but it's probably also a little hedging your bet that you could say, oh, he'll be back in a week. And then he could wake up one morning with a really bad headache and they could be like, we're going to push this back another week. Like concussions are the most fucked up thing.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. It's just, it's been such a long time.
Yeah.
It sort of makes you a little nervous. And I don't disagree that it's been purposely ambiguous, but it's been such a fucking long time.
It's been a really long time. And the other reason you would be ambiguous is because you're trying to provide someone privacy while they figure out what the fuck is going on in their life, right? So
you're a gay duo.
The
That's
ambiguously
right.
gay
you
one.
do have to be ambiguous about it.
It is true. But I'm with you. Like, that's scary. And I had, like, after the Adam Page thing, when I was on the Fightful stream, we were talking about, like, how when people say, like, it's just a concussion, it's like, well, that's a brain injury. And I think that conversation's changing. But, like, It's
Well,
just
I think for
crazy.
Adam Page, it was because they thought it was his neck.
Yeah, like the
Like-
fact that he looked like he could have been paralyzed. So I definitely understand that. But like, even just like he got his bell rung or whatever, it's like, yeah, because your brain is doing this in your head. Like it is.
Have either of you two been concussed before?
I have a suspicion I was after a softball game, but I was never like diagnosed or went to a doctor for it. But I think I've
Yeah,
been.
I will say. Yeah, sorry, I think I was talking and you froze for a second, Kate, so I didn't mean to step on you. I would certainly say, I think at one point in high school, I was playing football, and it was one of those moments. I don't know if you ever played football, Schlong, but I'm going to assume you played on one of the lines somewhere, offensive or defensive.
Yes, I got a total of 2 games in before someone dislocated my kneecap.
Beautiful. So I was playing defense one game, and it was one of those moments, Schlong, when you're practicing and they always tell you, if you step straight through the line, you're in trouble. That's exactly what happened. I stepped straight through, and I was just like, ruh-oh, and somebody came right into me, like face to face. And I got up and my ears were ringing, but I stayed in. Like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, because they didn't.
Nobody pulled me, and I was just kind of like, oh, a little fuzzy, but it'll be fine. So I'm sure, like Kate, I'm sure I had a concussion, but never.
I've had at least 2 that I know of, maybe more. I had one where I think I was like 8 years old. I was with my family in Ireland, and we were at the Blarney Castle, and I fell down the concrete steps and smacked my head. And so I crawled. I couldn't breathe either because I also.
It explains it.
Yes, I couldn't breathe either because I knocked the wind out of me, and I crawled into like a room they had there, and I passed out and like threw up all over myself. And then another time, I had to be like 12 or 13. It was concrete, my head, and then like a 220-pound kid on top of it.
Why do you keep hitting your head on concrete?
Well, we were playing football and in the street because we were dumbasses.
I shouldn't be laughing, but just something about Schlong being like, I passed out, woke up, and threw up.
It was very funny.
Oh, I threw up while I was passed out. I don't remember doing it.
No, I know.
Your delivery though. It was great. It was great. I wonder how many concussions happened in MBW. Do you think their medical staff was paying attention?
I don't think you could count that high. Probably a lot.
It would explain a lot for Matt.
It really would.
Do you know I've been to Matt's house? I'd say since he's gotten those tapes, I think I've been to Matt's house like 3 times, and I still have not seen a single second of those tapes. I was there to watch
the holidays.
baseball. We have to.
Over the holidays, we will.
We really have to. Anyway, let's move on. In the night, Jericho Appreciation Society make their entrance because it's time for Jericho to face his mystery opponent.
You should show. Sorry, that cracked me up. MPW was sponsored by concussions. It's a hysterical call.
So Jericho comes out saying he's had a sour taste in his mouth for the way his title defense against Claudio Castagnoli went, and he's challenging any former Ring of Honor champion, any title, men, women, tag team, TV, doesn't matter, just somebody come out. And Kate's prayers were answered. It was a triumphant return to television for Colt Cabana.
I love Colt.
I know, that's why I said your prayers
He
were
wasn't
answered.
being sarcastic. You.
Well, everyone assumes because I'm such a CM Punk mark that like I have a thing against Colt Cabana, and I don't.
No, that was the weirdest part.
Yeah, I like both of their wrestling a lot. I don't know either of them, so I don't have like a personal vested interest. CM Punk has had a more of an impact on me, I would say, but like I love Colt Cabana. I think he's a great wrestler. I wish his legacy wasn't defined by so much of CM Punk's career.
But Schlong, it would be like a sitcom where if Kate was in the room with CM Punk and then Colt Cabana walked in, she would turn to CM Punk and slap him like, stay away, bam, Colt Cabana. And then, and then the situation would change or whatever. And then she'd be with Colt Cabana and then she'd slap him in the face when CM Punk walks in. She'd be like,
and then they'd be at a
bitch.
party together. And she'd be trying to run between the rooms and
right.
changing outfits as she did it.
Right. Very much right. So anyway, Colt Cabana joins in. They do make mention Colt Cabana was a tag team champion in Ring of Honor. And he takers on his partner.
CM Punk.
Hilarious. Yes. Listen, Colt Cabana came out. He was clearly very emotional.
Yeah.
Baltimore, for those who don't know, Baltimore does mean a lot to Ring of Honor. In its history, they've always, been tied to Baltimore. But over the pandemic, prior to pandemic, they were really sort of making Baltimore their home base, especially out of that arena. Kate, you and I and Matt went to see a number of Ring of Honor shows at that arena prior to them being sold.
There's haunted hotel rooms very close to there.
Oh my goodness, so haunted. And those are also rooms where we had deep discussions on if we ever dream. So a lot of memories for us down there.
Do you guys have dreams?
Yeah, do you guys dream? No, I'm a fucking robot. Anyway. So Colt, very emotional, gets his shit together. He gets very close, but unfortunately, Kate, Chris Jericho wins by pinfall. The Codebreaker, with the Codebreaker to retain the Ring of Honor World Championship. Post-match, poor fucking Ian Riccaboni, who's doing commentary. The JAS pull Riccaboni off the desk. Jericho takes his glasses, makes fun of him. They break his glasses, slap him in the face. Poor Riccaboni. He had to deal with this Philly loss tonight too, and he has his glasses broken.
he couldn't see it, so it didn't really matter to him.
Well, he said he was listening to it on the radio, so he heard it.
Same.
But Claudio Castagnoli makes the save. JAS overwhelms him. Bryan Danielson comes out to make the save. Sammy Guevara gets in on this. Wheeler Yuta comes out to pull Sammy Guevara off. Finally, security, like 20 security guards come out after 5 minutes of a brawl. And we have a pull apart. So Jericho's left yelling at Claudio and Danielson. So who knows what's happening. But listen, I thought this was I think a lot of people thought it was Colt Cabana. I think that Colt Cabana was probably your sort of winner guess here. But I mean, it would have been awesome to see somebody like one of the, whichever Briscoe was the world title holder, but either one of the Briscoes could have fought. They were both title holders, tag title holders, PCO. Like we were dreaming last week. Those would have been cool, but Colt Cabana's the choice. I mean, that made total sense to me.
A statement out there for sure.
What?
It makes a statement for sure.
Yeah, that's my only. So the match was fine, and I am happy for Colt Cabana. And I know, like, there's people that think because I'm a CM Punk mark that like my problem with Colt Cabana, or that what I didn't like about Colt Cabana's appearance tonight has to do with that, and it doesn't. He hasn't been on TV since he lost to Danielson and lost his tooth in Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
And
wait, you said it wrong. Long Island.
Long Island.
There you go. Yep.
And he was in the Dark Order, and now he's not. Like, I think it would have been cool if his Dark Order friends came down with him, but I guess he's not in it anymore. So I didn't love this. One, because I marked myself out, because I was like, Adam Cole might return, or it could be like Samoa Joe, or like maybe Amazing Red's coming back for one appearance, or PCO. Like and I feel like they built it up that way a little bit. The other thing that I didn't like is, and I like cheap shots at people in wrestling. I think all the banter back and forth with WWE was super fun. But I liked what Ian Riccaboni was doing of like talking about Colt Cabana as his own wrestler instead of this feeling like a spite booking, which I felt like came across kind of like actually unfair to Colt. Like, I don't give a shit about what Punk would think of this. I don't think Punk is paying attention to any of this, to be honest. But like, I love.
Oh, he's definitely paying attention to it.
He's not going to be reacting to it, I guess I should say. But like, like, I really liked Ian Riccaboni was like, Colt Cabana has had to check in with himself after everything that's gone on. Like, he re-signed with Ring of Honor and not AEW, right? Like, that Colt Cabana as a wrestler had to evaluate where he's at in the industry, and here he is in this really cool moment. And then Excalibur, I get why he did it, but was like Marsha's baby boy or whatever. And I get like the capitalizing on the cheap shot thing. I just think it looks kind of bad on you when at a press conference, CM Punk does what he does, but Tony Khan's out there saying, I shouldn't have commented when he got asked about, is CM Punk the reason that Colt Cabana got demoted? And then you go out of your way to make it look like that's exactly what happened by putting a guy on TV for the first time in like a year with no continual storyline or no real build. Like, I don't know. I feel like it almost would have been better if they announced it last week and Colt Cabana had like a promo to address vaguely or dead on like something that's happened. So I like the match. I like that it was Colt Cabana. I just don't like that it looks like you're only caring about him because of a CM Punk situation. So that's my only gripe with that. Match was great. Like, Colt Cabana is really, really good in the ring. The gang war stuff after is getting a little bit tiresome, but the picture of Jericho with Ian Riccaboni's glasses on is meme perfection. I did kind of psych myself out though. I was like, maybe they smooth things over with Gresham. Maybe it's gonna be him. Like, so part of that was just like me being a mark. But I hope that they then move forward with something for Colt Cabana, because it looks like this is all out of reaction to CM Punk, where I feel like Colt Cabana actually deserves his own lane in whatever they're doing.
Go ahead, Schlong.
So I agree with Kate for the most part that that's what it looks like and probably has a lot to do with it. The only thing I will say is if we removed the drama between him and CM Punk and still put Colt Cabana in ROH or wherever and just said, like, we start naming who would be a great former ROH champion to go against Jericho, Cabana would have been top of the list. The reason he wasn't named is no one thought he'd come around because of the Punk stuff. So it's weird. Like, he was actually the most perfect guy, but the situation surrounded it. And by that, now it looks really petty, but I'm also on board with the really pettiness of it because it's just funny to me. I don't really care. I don't know any of these people, so I can laugh at it. I also just think it was a really good moment for Cabana. He got his cheers. He got his name chanted. He looked really good. I got to hear boom, boom, Colt Cabana, boom, boom, Colt Cabana.
The crowd was chanting "Welcome back."
Yes, but
so
like, where's the
who?
Dark Order? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It felt reactionary rather than like a Colt Cabana effort. Yeah.
Well, but even since I'll say this though, when he did sort of jump over to Ring of Honor, right? When he fought on their buy-in, he wasn't Dark Order Colt Cabana. He was just Colt Cabana.
Yes.
So, you know, there is continuity there that they're keeping. You know what I mean? Like, he's just sort of dropped it. You know, the whole Dark Order thing is sort of a mystery right now anyway. They're still a thing, but they're not really a thing, you know? So I don't have an issue with that. I don't necessarily have an issue with any of this. Like I said, when you sort of sit back and look at like, okay, Colt Cabana makes sense. Like, yeah, it totally makes sense. I think a lot of people were over, you know, like fantasy booking. Like you said, Kate, maybe it's Samoa Joe. Well, you know, he had a match tonight. I never thought it was Samoa Joe. Gresham, it's like you can't bring Gresham back. And then
not bringing Gresham back. Yeah.
Right. You know, like, that's not happening. And who knows? Listen, who knows what'll happen with Gresham? Gresham showed up at New Japan last week. So a guy who said he wasn't really taking any more bookings for a period of time, you know, now he's doing New Japan. You never know. Maybe they can smooth things over.
But he comes back. If they do it he comes back as like the savior, the one who wins. You can't bring him back to lose.
Well, that's what I thought. If it is Gresham, he would win tonight, and it would make sense because of all the stuff Jericho's doing about attacking referees and announcers. Like, Gresham was Mr. ROH through the entire pandemic. Like, that story also made sense, which is why my heart was hoping for it.
I think this gets resolved at Final Battle. So if it's it's gonna be Gresham to bring things back to restore order, you have to do it at the pay-per-view. I mean, you have to give people a reason to buy in. So maybe if that's something they can do, they'll start to sort of build that as we get a little bit closer towards December. I mean, listen, the last 2 pay-per-views they did with Ring of Honor, I think they've only done 2 to this point.
They were really good.
They've been good. I'm going to watch the other one. We did post shows about it where we just had nothing, I don't think really anything bad to say about it. They were great shows. The worst thing we had to say was, where's the television? Like,
yes,
we want to see more of it, So listen, it was a perfectly fine match. Like I said, it makes sense for where they were tonight for Colt Cabana to be back. I don't disagree that some of it, people are just going to look at it as like a make good booking. I don't think that's what it was intended to be. I think you really did want to put it somebody who, when you think of them, it's like, yeah, I think of Ring of Honor when I see Colt Cabana, Danielson too, the people who are really in on it, Danielson is tied to Ring of Honor, but when you think broader, when you see Danielson, you think WWE too. You know what I mean? Like Colt Cabana, you really think Ring of Honor. AEW.
Yeah, I mean, he and Punk were kind of the first traveling indie feud and that era of time that was selling Ring of Honor out.
Yeah.
Like that company was built on the back of that feud at that time, essentially. So like the ROH title being defended in other cities with those titles or whatever, like was a very, very big deal at the time. So I think it's a great move. I just, I hope that it's something that is sustained for Colt Cabana and that this wasn't his annual appearance because CM Punk was an idiot. Like, he deserves better than that.
Right.
So.
And again, I think it's hard to say because there's no Ring of Honor secured television yet.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I think if they have Ring of Honor television, you'll probably get to see Colt Cabana more often in some capacity, whether he's in the ring or maybe he's going to have a different role. Because don't forget too, Colt Cabana had a stint as a commentator. Mm-hmm. He was pretty good at it. So Colt Cabana, if they're going to do a 3-man desk, it could be Colt Cabana, Rick Abani, and Caprice.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Colt Cabana could be a backstage interviewer, like, a Renee or, Mark Henry, like on Rampage. They could do anything they want with him. That's right. You know it. We're just, starting our courtship. So that's right. Girlfriend. Anyway, I thought this was a lot of fun. Let's move on. We're almost through it. Renee interviews Death Triangle backstage to sort of lead into the 3-way title match for the All-Atlantic Championship. And Pac tells Phoenix if he really wants revenge for Death Triangle, he should use the hammer tonight. And it's just something to think about, and they sort of break and go their separate ways. We're not sure what Phoenix is going to do. And when we get back from commercial, we are going into Luchasaurus versus Orange Cassidy versus Phoenix for the championship. And again, they make sure to mention that this is a 3-way, match, right? Its title can change regardless of whether the champion's involved in the pin or not, or a submission. And there's no disqualification. So anything pretty much goes here. So the hammer makes sense at that point, right? Because now like anything goes. And we get through this, and Luchasaurus, puts Phoenix through the timekeeper's table. Eventually, Luchasaurus heads up the ramp, and he sends Cassidy flying up the ramp, so he chases him, and then that's when Jungle Boy comes out of the tunnel with a chair to make the save on Orange Cassidy. He whacks Luchasaurus over the back with it a few times. He chases Zaddy Christian off, who was doing commentary, and then he spears or crossbodies Luchasaurus off the ramp through a table. And that pretty much puts Luchasaurus out. So Pac comes down the ring. He gives the hammer to Phoenix, but Phoenix throws it down and says, no, I'm not going to do that. And then there's a couple reversals, but Orange Cassidy is able to win by pinfall with the orange punch on Phoenix to retain the championship. And he does earn a dream match title defense of his choice in Atlantic City for that All Atlantic title. And post match, the Bastard lights out, fights with Cassidy. He stomps a mud hole in him. And that is when music hits. And the one and only Mr. Shibata is there in the building. And he's got his best friends and Rocky Romero with him. Pax, heads for the hills. Shibata confronts Orange Cassidy in the ring. And he points to the title. He wants a title match. So Orange gives him the contract. And it is official. Friday fucking night. Come on, people. Let's get to Atlantic City. Orange Cassidy and Shibata will take place in Atlantic City. I believe this is the third, if I'm not mistaken, Shibata match since his return to action.
Yeah.
And
the first one was supposed to be like a baby one, and he kind of went into business for himself, but it was like kind of a tester. And then the second one was like a real one, and this I'm assuming it'll be a real one. But just incredible. You want to talk about brain injuries, God. Like we were talking about concussions before, he had a literal brain bleed. So the fact that he's able to do anything is pretty. That fact that he's alive is a blessing. Yeah. But this is awesome. I clearly haven't liked a lot of this episode, and then I was like, holy shit, that rules.
Yeah. And speaking of his brain injury, Kate, depending on whose sort of story you read about that surgery, there are some accounts of that surgery where people say they had to remove his brain and put it back. Again, I don't know who's telling the truth there. I don't know what the subdermal hematoma surgery is, but I mean, he showed up at Forbidden Door and it was like a huge deal. And now he's going to have his third match, and it will be in an AEW ring on Friday night. It's pretty impressive. Listen, I thought the match was perfectly fine. The dream match is what we're going to be talking about. And for anybody who's really into New Japan and Shibata, this should give you a reason to tune into Rampage on Friday night.
Big time. Big time.
Schlong, let's get your thoughts. Anything you want to say about the match and the whole Shibata shebang?
I'm going to be honest. I don't know much about Shibata, so I can't really talk to it. I'm not an New Japan guy, so he was like hurt by the time I started watching that shit. So it was really hard. I have to go back and watch, but I don't know a lot about him.
Would you prefer to watch Shibata matches with Matt drunk off of several Jack and Cokes yelling in your ear at the live crowd? Is that your preference on how to watch live
Should be.
New Japan matches?
That's how I prefer all New Japan matches, to be quite honest.
Fair.
The triple threat itself was good. I have one thing though that annoyed me a little bit. I get what the story they were telling with Ray Phoenix and Pac, whatever, but it was a no disqualification.
Yes,
taking the hammer isn't cheating at that point. It's within the rules of the match. You should have taken the hammer and hit him. All you had to say was that it wasn't no DQ, there was DQs, like it was a disqualification match, and then he's cheating. Don't say it's no DQ. Just don't do it.
No. Yeah, then you look dumb and not honorable. I hear you on that.
So that was the only thing that annoyed me. The match was great, and I like the stories they're telling, but that was kind of like, you should just take the goddamn hammer and hit him with it.
Yeah.
I will say that the Death Triangle dissension makes me happy because I think the Lucha Brothers should be a tag team and Pac should be out on his own. I like them as a trio, don't get me wrong, but if this leads to them splitting so that Pac can be a star and they can go back to putting on insane tag matches, I'm not going to be mad about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I read this sort of going, right? I think we're going to get the trios title return match when the Elite comes back, and they're going to take those titles, and then they're going to go on a massive heel run, and then we're going to break up Death Triangle for however long they want to stay broken up. But everybody's kind of a star, right? I mean, Phoenix can do singles, he can do tag, same thing with Penta, and Pac is a single star. So I think that's where we're going. But yeah, I like this match. To me, the hammer thing didn't necessarily bother me because it's just Phoenix doing the right thing, right? He basically said to Pac when it was illegal, like, don't do it. You don't need to do this to win. And I guess he's giving himself a taste of that same medicine. Like, I don't need to use this to win. So I'm just going to do it my own way. I don't know. I didn't have a problem with it. I liked it.
That's fair.
Guys, in our next star-studded backstage segment, Tony Schiavone's hanging out with Shane Swerve Strickland and Mr. Ricky Ross. And Ross says he's here for one reason, to make sure Strickland is the biggest wrestler in the game and the biggest recording artist around. That's when Keith Lee rolls up, shakes hands with Rick Ross, and Shane sets up an Atomicos match, a 4-on-4 match with the Gun Club and Swerve and Our Glory versus the Acclaimed and FTR. Lee is reluctant, but he does go along with it. And then Rick Ross gives him a glass of champagne. Swerve has his, Rick Ross has it, and he says to Tony, I even got one for you. Tony is delighted. And then they cheers to success. So
You don't have to cut off Tony Schiavone and call him an asshole all the time. Sometimes you can give him a glass of champagne and let him do his damn job.
that's right. I mean, he is a personal interviewer, and now he's hanging out with, rap moguls. I mean, Tony Schiavone's on his way.
Swerve is cooler than everybody else. He's got like all these cool friends, and he does cool stuff in the ring. He's just cool.
He is, and he's a good he's a good heel. Like when he does heel stuff, he's good. So I think when they make this split happen, it's going to be good. He'll go do his heel stuff. Keith Lee will still be a way over babyface, and everything will be good.
And you said you were about to say he's a good bad guy, but all I heard was he's a good bat, and I thought you were going to say bang, and I'm like, wait, where are we going with this?
No.
All of a sudden.
I thought you were going to say baddie, and I got very confused.
No. I decided to use the right terminology.
I like it.
Let's see. We go into Jade Cargill versus Marina Shafir for the AEW TBS Championship. Weird, though, there's no belt to switch hands, I guess, if Marina wins. During the match, before they can even get really involved, Vicky Guerrero comes screaming down on the stage with Nyla Rose, who, of course, is the real champion because she has the title around her waist. There is some live commentary over, the PA as Cargill is able to put boots to Shafir. Jade Cargill does get the win by pinfall with Jaded to retain the AEW TBS Championship, but she doesn't have a belt at all. So, little weird. Post-match, Nyla is able to take off. Kiera Hogan tries to steal the belt back, but it doesn't work. She gets knocked out by Nyla Rose. Jade comes to check on Kiera, and she is not pleased that she didn't get her belt back. So, Schlong, you love this whole angle, so we're going to go to you first. What did you think of this?
Well, he really loves Kiera Hogan.
He does love Kiera Hogan. Ran into her too at the casino. She's tiny, so tiny.
The abuse I take on here. I do love the storyline. I think Nyla's killing it. I think she's making this very entertaining between the stuff on TV and Twitter. This was a bit choppy to me. Like they would have been better off not showing Nyla or doing a split screen. But to cut back and forth meant you missed chunks of the match, and that didn't work for me. I would have been happier either just hearing her or doing a split screen. Either one would have worked. And the Kiera Hogan segment at the end was a bit weird because the camera was not in the spot it needed to be to catch what happened. But I do love this story. I think it's the most interesting story Jade's had in a while because there's an actual story here. And someone who's even though she's not beating her, someone who's getting the best of Jade in some way or fashion, which is stealing the belt, and it's clearly driving Jade nuts. So I was enjoying it. And poor Kiera Hogan.
I actually have a question for you, Dark Correspondent.
Mm-hmm.
I saw on Twitter that I thought It sounded like on Dark they said that Kiera Hogan wasn't going to be working with the baddies anymore. Unless somebody... It's very possible that was just an aired tweet, but I thought I would run it by since you consistently watch.
I mean, unless commentary said it and I didn't hear it, but
okay,
I don't think so. Or could have just been set up for this.
Integrity. It could have been set up for this.
Because Kiera Hogan was not out with Jade for her match on Dark. Jade had a match on Dark. So my guess is it was a setup for this. Make them believe, because otherwise, where is Kiera Hogan when Jade's wrestling? So this is the only way you could fool. So that would be my guess.
Now he just sounds like he's from Denmark or Sweden or something like that.
Kiera
Hogan.
Dutch of some sort.
Bloody Dutch.
So the good of this to me is that they are trying to tell stories in a refreshed way in the women's division, which makes me really happy. Like, Jade doesn't really get a ton of story build out, so that does make me happy. The execution I felt like wasn't great tonight. Nyla she does not need Vicky. Like, there's no point in both of them going down there. Like, just let Nyla fly on her own. And I agree with you, like, the camera work back and forth wasn't great. I also don't think talking over matches is something that ever worked. Like, Leo Rush is fantastic at a lot of things in wrestling. When he was doing that with Bobby Lashley, like, that didn't work for me either. It's just weird. This is a weird thing when you have people talking over matches. So I felt like the execution wasn't great. I do think this is at least a creative way to build out a feud. And I'm just glad that there's, like, we're seeing consistent storytelling in the women's division on a regular basis. So while I haven't loved the execution of it, I appreciate that there's a seemingly more consistent effort there on multiple fronts, right? We have Saraya and Britt. We have this. We have Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter. And I'm sure Thunder Rosa is going to re-enter that picture. So it's just refreshing to see that. So good and bad tonight, roses and thorns. But I'm glad that they tried. It was just also kind of a bummer because this is the only women's match that they did something so unorthodox with the short time that they had. It was kind of like, oh, when that doesn't click in, it doesn't look like you made great use of your time. But I'll take it. The fact that it happened made me happy, since, to your point, they didn't mention it in the rundown, and this started at like 9:34 or something instead of like 9:26. So I was just relieved it was on there, to be honest.
I will say this. I hated the match. I thought it was trash. I just think they're both not seasoned enough to really do anything worthwhile in the ring with each other. What I can tell you I was happy about with the presentation was they changed Marina Shafir's music. Jesus Christ, thank God.
Big time.
Because she did fight on Dark. We saw them tape that match, and she came out with that violin music. And I get what they're going for, right? Like, from where, from the country she's from, and it's, whatever. But it's just so boring. So I'm glad that they gave a little something. But boy, she really got fucking trounced. So it didn't help when you call somebody the problem and then they're solved so quickly.
Very fair.
So, commentary hypes up the main event again. Our main event's going to be Brian Cage versus Samoa Joe. But before that, we get a nice little vignette. Guys.
A vignette, hey?
A vignette.
A vinaigrette?
A vignette.
Vignette, hey?
And guys, it's the House of Black. Julia Hart is apparently mourning the whole House of Black. Malachi, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews are dead, wrapped up in white cloth. She puts, like a little stick figure cross thing on Malachi's head. Then she puts one under Buddy Matthews' hand. She puts one underneath, Brody King's hand that's resting on his chest. And there's a whole voiceover. I don't remember everything he was saying, but it's, all this cryptic stuff about mourning and death and whatnot. And they eventually put them in the ground, bury them, and I believe light the ground on fire, if my memory serves me correct. And Malachi does come in at the end with a voiceover to say, to ask for forgiveness from the Black Father. And we go to a break. So, guys, we didn't get to talk about it last week because I think they just sort of started it after our show last week. But on what really kind of got me like, what is this? What is going on here is on Malachi Black's Instagram or Twitter or whatever. I saw it on Instagram. He put up sort of a video vignette like this. And I didn't think anything of it until at the end of that video, we saw the rest of the House of Black. And then Brody King put up a similar video with the other members of the House of Black. And now we see it on TV. You know, it seems like maybe they worked out some of the issues that they had between those guys and maybe what they were doing or how they were using them. And I think that perhaps, now this is me just spitballing here, I think perhaps what was supposed to happen with the Elite was supposed to maybe be a feud coming with the House of Black. And when everything with the Elite fell apart, there was nothing sort of to move on to do. And maybe that's sort of why some of them felt like there's no communication, we don't know what's going on, we're not being used properly, blah, blah, blah. You know, that I think also, Kate, you brought up Miro before, that I think is also a reason why we're not seeing Miro, because Miro was so invested with the House of Black as well. This House of Black vignette, if this is teasing them coming back, I think this could be a great sort of waterfall effect. Right now we maybe see Miro come back, we see a feud with the Elite. Like, I think that this is awesome. I think this vignette is great. And if they did work everything out with Malachi Black, and maybe Malachi Black did need a break to sort of mental check himself, totally fine. Take that break you need, get your head in the right space. This is a dangerous business to not be there 100% mentally in the ring. So I'm super excited to see this on television and not just on social, because like I said, I wasn't sure what it was on social.
Sure.
But now it's on TV, so now I have a clearer picture. I mean, Kate, we'll go to you first. Do you think this is as awesome as I do?
For a lot of reasons. One, the accurate reports about Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews both were never reporting that they had asked for their release. They had said that there were no imminent creative plans with them, which was true because people need breaks. And I think when Malachi Black needed a break and it wasn't going to be super extensive, whether he requested to go to WWE or not, he wasn't going to get released for that. Buddy Matthews also, I think, probably saw the handwriting on the wall of, well, if this isn't going to be a very long-term or permanent thing, I should step back with it, is how this reads to me. I don't know anything. The other piece of this is the grass is greener until it's not. Bray Wyatt just came back in WWE. And if you were thinking you were going to go back to WWE and do something along these lines when Bray Wyatt is back doing what he's doing, absolutely no way that there's room for both of those things, I think, in the same company with as extensive and high level as both of Bray Wyatt. This, especially what feels like this rendition of Bray Wyatt, is probably the best it's been. And Malachi Black. Like, there's just no way that both of those things are going to be balanced out. So I think this is the best possible scenario for everyone. I will say when they announced the trios titles, it was obvious when Kenny was coming back that this was going to involve him. But I was like, it would be silly not to have the first real lengthy reign be with House of Black for like 8 months. Because it just felt like these trios titles were perfect for them. Like, they're just the most perfect trio when you think about stylistically what they can do. Like, Buddy Matthews and his selling is ridiculous. Malachi's striking is insane. And Brody is obviously like this behemoth. So there's so many great things that they can do. And as long as everybody is in a happy and healthy space, this is only great for the product, because you're not only getting back really interesting characters that are doing something different than everybody else on TV, you're getting back 3 phenomenal workers. And Brody King's been in and out. But like, they're 3 really, really great wrestlers that I want on my TV. And I was just kind of getting really invested in Julia Hart before all this happened too. So it seems like maybe the backstage in general is settling down a little bit, or at least under control, that we're not hearing about backstage fights every week and all these communication issues, right? So that's probably thanks to the incoming Jeff Jarrett. I'm sure Malachi Black was like, I'm not returning until you bring in Double J. So
that's right. He's a draw. I will say this. Gordon Post brings up an interesting twist to the story. What if Miro is the Black Father? Because that, again, as I said, I think Miro was heavily invested with House of Black. We never resolved that, right? He had his face spit into. He came out with the sunglasses one night, and he had an eye patch on. We don't know what's happening there. Maybe they were trying to do a yin yang thing, like he's the positive, Malachi's the negative. Who knows? I mean, but that would be an interesting twist to this whole story too. If Miro now is like the Black Father,
it would be interesting. Selfishly, as a wrestling fan, I want Miro to be always chasing gold because I think he deserves to be in title pictures all the time. And I just really want to see those matches. Like, I really want to see Miro versus Brody King and Miro versus Buddy Matthews and Miro versus Malachi Black as a wrestling fan. But if you don't trust, if Malachi Black hasn't earned your creative trust at this point, I don't know what the guy has to do. So if Miro is, I'm sure it'll be treated really well.
Schlong, what's your take on this whole House of Black situation?
Well, I missed the vinaigrette. I didn't see it because I was watching baseball. However, I'm glad they're back. I'm glad whatever need to get settled gets. But it did always sound like it was somewhat miscommunication and somewhat personal that had nothing to do with AEW. So I'm glad they figured it all out. I definitely think we'll see Miro back now in some version of the story. And I'm very, very excited for it. I think this is what we need. You know, these guys to start coming back. And I don't think Miro is Daddy Black. I think they're going to fight. He's going to fight them, and that's the way it's going to go. And then he can go do his own thing. But I felt bad for Julia for a while, so I'm glad this is all working out because, like, she had made the turn. It kind of was working for her. And then everyone was gone. And it's like, well, she's got nothing now. So it is nice for her.
I truly do just feel like this was a whole thing that it happened because of the whole, all out situation, right? Like the Elite gets suspended. House of Black, was probably lined up to do something with them afterwards. That wasn't going to happen. They weren't in line for the titles for whatever reason, probably because they wanted to get to the Elite and House of Black. And Miro was invested in that whole story too. So it's just like, I think everybody just got caught up. Hopefully, with everybody sort of gearing up to make a return, we get back to what was the regularly scheduled program and it'll fucking rule. Because everybody who would be involved in this feud, is perfect. Kate, you said it. All three House of Black are phenomenal. I would consider them top tier talent. All of them.
Yes.
And then same thing with, the Elite. Say what you will about the Bucks and Kenny, because I know there are people who don't think they're the greatest. They're fucking top tier talent as well. So what are you going to expect? There's, this is going to be a great feud if that's where they go. I can't see them not doing that. The timing is just working. So
they're no ass boys, though. I will say that.
I mean, that's very true. Very true. I mean, the ass boys are basically tag team equivalent of Marco Stunt. That's pretty
greatest of all time.
Yeah.
How dare you compare the ass boys to Marco?
Guys, it is time for the main event. Oh, by the way, here's where let's stop real quick before the main event. They do hype up the cards for next week. We talked a little bit about it. I didn't take the whole rundown. I just didn't do it tonight. But I will say this. They did unveil another match for Full Gear. They did announce we are going to get an AEW Women's Interim Championship match. Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter. And they had a nice little video package talking about the fact that Toni Storm saying, we lived together actually in quarantine, and she's the nicest person. I don't know what happened after she signed, and Jamie Hayter basically coming on and be like, I don't know what she's talking about. Like, this is me. Like, I thought it's fantastic. Now, here's Kate, where we said before, you think maybe Hayter goes over. I honestly just still can't see it. I just really think they want to get to Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa, and they want to unify the belts with those two, and then maybe the belt comes off Thunder Rosa, and they, Toni Storm has it for maybe a month, and then maybe Jamie gets it, because I assume I haven't looked at the status of Chris Statlander, but I believe she's still got some time left before she's back.
I think she's coming for Jade anyway. I think that's.
Would hope so. I mean, I know that when they initially were sort of unveiling that whole thing, they sort of pivoted and said Athena's going to go after Jade, and then Chris Stat would hold the title. Like, that's sort of what they were lining up. But it's interesting, too, because who knows what the fuck's going on with Athena now. They're teasing heel turns every week. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I'm all for that match at Full Gear. Jamie Hayter has earned a shot during a pay-per-view in a main event, women's match, a co-main event, women's match for the title. Again, it's just going to be interesting to see what happens with Thunder Rosa, because it's still not super clear what happened with Thunder Rosa, if she's truly injured or if it is some sort of punishment for something. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'll say she's injured just because
she is. It's a lower back injury. She's also not working indie dates. If it was a punishment,
right? She's showing up at those dates, but she is not wrestling. She's like doing appearances and stuff like that. So who knows when she's coming back? But yeah, that's my take on that. I'm excited for that match. Kate, I know you said you think maybe Hayter goes over this time. I mean, you want to talk about it?
Sure. I mean, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to be in the bathroom regardless. But
I mean, that's true.
I think I feel like the move is to have Toni Storm retain, have the blow off with Thunder Rosa, and to be honest, I think Toni Storm has been the most successful women's champion they've had, and I love Thunder Rosa, but I think Toni Storm should win and just stay the course right now. I could see them giving it to Jamie Hayter if that's why they've waited this long to facilitate the split with Britt, because if Jamie Hayter has the title, that's the one thing that Britt wouldn't be able to handle, right? Like, I built you up, I made you who you are, and now you go and take the title is like a good story, and one that keeps Britt in the title picture without it feeling exhausted. But to me, the best move is keep it on Toni Storm, and I love Thunder Rosa, but I think you probably have Toni Storm just stay this course because the Thunder Rosa reign wasn't really clicking.
Yeah, it didn't help. They didn't really have anything good to book for her. That certainly didn't help. Schlong, what do you think about? Do you think this is Jamie Hayter's time, or do you think they're going to wait for Thunder Rosa?
I think it's too early to take it off Toni Storm. She's been a fun champion, but she hasn't had it long enough where I think it's time for her to lose it. I think Britt is going to accidentally cost Hayter the match, and that is going to be the beginning of the end. That's
fun. I'll take that.
Yeah, because that leaves a story for Jamie Hayter, right? And I mean, who knows what's going to happen at Full Gear? I think they're leading to Saraya Britt Baker at Full Gear. Britt Baker could still be involved to turn Jamie Hayter. Maybe that ends sort of the Saraya thing, and we're on to Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter. Eventually Thunder Rosa comes back. Maybe Thunder Rosa returns that night, and we set up sort of this feud between Toni Storm and Thunder Rosa. They can work the whole thing, right? Where Toni Storm had a couple quotes where she's like, they say she's injured, like they could work the whole thing out. Those are still good stories to tell, even though nothing changes, right? So, I mean, and then they have outs to everything. So I think they're in good shape. And I think that's going to be a great match for the pay-per-view. And, you know, there's a couple other things they can add, like Saraya and Britt Baker to fill out the women's division sort of match, you know. And then the Nyla Rose and Jade Cargill. You have to resolve that. So that'll probably happen there. But anyway, let's move on to the main event. It's Brian Cage versus Samoa Joe. Who better, by the way? Nobody, that's right. For the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. Some really fun stuff in this where Samoa Joe was trying to knock over Brian Cage early on in this match and wasn't happening. Just, you love hoss fights. This was the fight for you. Just
meaty
really,
men slapping meat, baby.
That's it. Big meaty men. Just slapping the shit out of each other. Cutting to the end, Samoa Joe does win by submission with the Coquina Clutch, retaining the title. Post-match, the Gates of Agony do come down to the ring to beat Joe down. Wardlow makes the save, but then Powerhouse Hobbs is in the ring, and he lays Wardlow out with a belly-to-belly suplex. He holds up the TNT Championship, and that's the show. So eventually, we're going to get Powerhouse Hobbs and Wardlow. Maybe they do that at Full Gear. Maybe they do it in the next couple weeks. Who knows? But that will be another hoss fight that we want to see, right? So listen, I thought the match was perfectly fine. Again, Cage showing me some more stuff that really gets me interested in him. His personality, doing promos and stuff is a little more to be desired for me, but his in-ring work lately has been really good. So I thought this was great, and I like the Powerhouse Hobbs and Wardlow thing that we're lining up. So I thought this was great all around. Schlong, let's go to you first. I'm not sure if you got to see much of this match. I'm just realizing that now. So why don't we go to Kate?
No, we're with me. We're with me.
Oh, you're with you? Okay.
Because it doesn't matter what order we go in. I'm still not going to have seen it.
I was just going to pass you then at that point.
But I'm just going to say I'm excited for Hobbs and Wardlow.
That'll be fun. It's going to be interesting to see where they put that. If they put that to full gear, or if they do it somewhere in the weeks, ahead. But Kate, what'd you think of the hoss fight?
I did see it.
The
pump handle spot was insane. I loved a lot.
Insane.
It was. As you know, I really liked this match. I really think Cage feels much more comfortable picking on people his own size or bigger. Like that, he seems to just lay his shit in. He doesn't try and go the pace of other people. That's why I think his match with Adam Page was good all that time ago, was because Adam Page kind of works at a slower, harder hitting pace than someone who's flying around super quick, right? So I think he just is leaning into his strengths and with opponents that he's able to do it with. And Samoa Joe's just Samoa Joe. I could watch that guy in a ring with anybody doing whatever. Such a fun storyteller. Always looks like he's trying to win matches and beat asses in the process. That's just fun. So a really, really fun way to close it out. And I liked the ending, Cage just kind of passing out. I thought was a good protected ending and believable and a good sequence to get there. This was a really fun way to close out the show.
Well, I thought it was a perfectly fine episode of Dynamite tonight. There's a lot of stuff that we're clearly, if you ask me, lining up for Full Gear. Sting and Darby Allin versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Some of the women's stuff. Listen, to me, this all made sense. Kate hated a lot of it. If you're watching, don't mind her shirt. It's not true. It's a lie. But I thought this was a perfectly fine episode of Dynamite. I really enjoyed it.
Like Skyline Chili, it was mid. But
That's
Shibata
been retracted. Rules. That's been retracted.
What's
it's out there. Once it's out there, it's not there.
Somebody
MJF can
just-
say months later that it's not mid and that it's good, and it doesn't matter. It's out there.
Somebody just tell me, because I can't remember. What is Skyline Chili?
It's like a Cincinnati staple.
Oh, is that where they put it on fucking spaghetti or whatever?
I don't know. It sounds gross.
It sounds vaguely familiar now that you mention it. Because here's the thing. When usually when my family gets together and we watch the Super Bowl, what we'll try to do is we'll try to do regional cuisine, right? So
Oh, fun.
like if it's Cincinnati versus New England, there's not a world that can happen, but I'm just using it as an example. We'll do Skyline Chili and for Cincinnati, and then we'll do like lobster rolls. That's right, AntMoney lobster rolls for
Whoa.
what?
You don't do New England clam chili.
I'm not gonna have two. I'm not gonna have two soup dishes.
Yeah, but it's named New England.
Yeah, but where do you get the best lobster rolls?
Maryland.
No, you get crab cakes in Maryland. You fool.
And
See,
you
Kate,
get them at Jimmy's Seafood.
if he came along, he would have known that that's where you get crab cakes. Especially
I
if
have
you
to
get-
work. I can't
Boo.
come.
Boo, 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 boo.
I
I feel
can't.
so sad about that. So sad. So sad.
You should be. That was a great fucking trip.
It was. You could have seen some really beautiful ladies
Oh hell yeah, you could have.
Where?
in the hotel after.
Yeah, Willow,
Jordan Grace looking
Maria
good.
Kanellis. Yeah, Jordan Grace.
Camille. Whoo! Camille.
Yeah. Well, folks, that was the end of Dynamite. I don't really have too many news and notes. We already sort of gave away one of them during the night because we just found out about Jeff Jarrett. The
Who
only
needs
other
CM Punk when you have Jeff Jarrett?
It's true. Well, the only other thing is that on Wrestling Observer Radio, this was the only rumor that I saw hitting the mill, is on Wrestling Observer Radio, Wrestling Inc.'s Nick Hausman said he has spoken to people close to CM Punk who say he's never going to wrestle again now that he's done in AEW. So, good riddance to bad rubbish. Didn't work out. Right, Kate?
If I had $1 for every wrestler who said they were never going to wrestle again,
You'd have $1.
I'd have $11. Ric Flair alone, I feel like I would have at least a 5 spot, right?
Very true. Ryan Schlong, Asian Joe with the perfect football and crab cakes. That's what Maryland does.
If
See?
you can do crab cakes, you can do lobster rolls.
No.
They're both from the sea.
Yeah, but so is, so are dolphins. We don't eat dolphins.
I bet you can get dolphins from the same spot you get crab from.
No.
Well, maybe not because there's a depth issue there. But still, my point stands.
Okay. Anybody else got any news, notes, rumors, things that they want to discuss?
No, I mean, we've been blessed by the wrestling gods already.
You're right. Jeff
Yeah.
Jarrett is back.
Baby!
That's right. And he's got his podcast with Conrad. So you can really get your fill of Jeff Jarrett however you need to.
Hey, one more rumor. I had a
go ahead.
rumor that we are fucking going to Full Gear in style.
That's right. The Mark Order podcast, along with the Shining Wizards and Turnbuckle Throwbacks, host extraordinaire, will be at Full Gear in the fucking suite. And if I can drop this on you guys right now, you don't know this, but there's going to be some catering there.
Ooh.
Crab cakes?
It's not part of the package because it's New Jersey. We don't do crab cakes.
What
What does
about
New Jersey do?
a lot of drinks?
Taylor ham, motherfucker.
Yeah, pork
Don't
roll's
call
okay.
it pork roll. It's not pork roll.
It's pork roll.
Kate,
I was wondering the drink situation so that I can make sure I'm taking them before the women's matches. Will there be beverages?
There are going to be beverages, yes.
Okay, great.
There's going to be some beverages, yes.
Okay. And is the bathroom as far away as possible?
Oh, yeah, I think it is. You know, that was the funny thing. I think, by the way, I'm not 100% sure. I think we have our own bathroom, but if not,
If you have a
there is
suite, you
one.
have your own bathroom.
Not everywhere, sir. Not everywhere.
I've never been to anywhere that didn't have that.
Oh, well, aren't you a fancy boy?
Look at that, Kate, huh? Look at that.
Fucking.
This guy is
I
telling
got Hollywood over here. I live my life in Sweets Man over here. Fucking Macho Man pimped out. Sweet life of Ryan and Cody. Oh, there's
Cody
me.
Rhodes?
Adrenaline.
I knew that was coming. Jesus.
Something, roadie coats.
Asian Joe's been in suites that don't have their own bathrooms.
That's right.
Asian Joe's a liar.
I guess we're just not as bougie as Ryan.
Seriously, I don't know where Ryan's going. Oh my God. Anyway, Mark Gordon podcast, Shining Wizards, Phil from Turnbuckle Throwbacks, and a number of other fine ladies and gentlemen. Mrs. Money will be with us too, but some other fine ladies and gentlemen will be at Full Gear in Newark. We'll be in a suite, but clearly we will be there. So if any of you fine people listening will be there, hit us up on social. Let us know. Maybe we could do a little meetup somewhere in the arena beforehand, because a couple of the bars right outside, they have closed. They did not make it through the pandemic, which is such a shame. True. That Edison Ale House was perfect. It's literally 10 steps from like the door of the Prudential Center.
Red's is open though. That place is good.
It is, but it's like a little bit around the corner. It's like
yeah, when it's cold, the beer garden's not open.
Anyway, let us know if you're going to be there. We'll be there. And like I said, you two, I'll be here next week, but the week after the go home to Full Gear, I'm guest listed, so I have to be in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
All right, fancy pants.
And I'm trying to go to Rampage on Friday. I don't know if that's
I'm in the city tomorrow, and I have commentary on Saturday, but also Shibata in person is something I want to see. So I have to figure that out.
Schlong lives like, an hour, and he won't make the trip. He's invited. He won't make that trip.
It's rude.
I know.
It's rude. It's a rude person.
Kate, I know you just said a few things you got going on, but why don't you tell the fine people where you are when you're not here?
Every Tuesday you can catch me doing the NXT Sour Graps post show. It's more ridiculous by the week because NXT is terrible. On Fightful YouTube, Fridays, the AEW Rampage and SmackDown post show on Fightful YouTube as well. Monday and sometimes Fridays on Fightful Select. Just going crazy behind the paywall. This weekend, I'm also at Excite Wrestling doing commentary, and at some point, we will be doing a review of Crown Jewel, the Saudi Arabia show. Alex, my co-host, doesn't watch it for moral reasons, and so I watch it and describe it to him, and I give him 3 lies, and he has to see what I'm lying about. And the Fightful main channel donates the super chats to Cause for Syria, so you can feel good knowing you're tuning in to those things because we try to keep it ethical. But that is what I have going on this weekend.
And I saw that might even change, by the way. Did you see that, Kate? Because the
Very
situation is not great over there.
Not great, and there's already some talent there, so just hoping everybody's okay.
Schlong, when you're not preoccupied watching the Phillies or here, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
I work. I work out.
I get listed. I go to the clubs.
I make money.
Fair enough. Every Monday and Tuesday, you can catch me live tweeting Dark and Elevation. Rest of the week, just hanging out at Mark Order Pod, interact with me, and so Schlong and good night.
Well, Schlong let you know, but you can find us on socials at Mark Order Pod, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all the places you're going to look for us. You're going to look for at Mark Order Pod. And on all those social channels, you can find our link tree in our bios. So don't worry, you don't have to actually go to every single platform. If you're connected to us on Twitter, just go to the link tree because we actually have links to all our socials in there. Then you could just give us a follow or a subscribe. But most importantly, you can click the button to request free stickers from the Mark Order podcast. And all you got to do is give us your name, your full mailing address. Again, can't stress, I need a full address if you want me to send stickers out. I can't look you up. And the country you live in, so I'm sure I'm putting the proper postage on the envelope, and then I will send you some of these free Mark Order podcast stickers so that you can stick them wherever you like and support us.
Stick them where the sun don't shine.
That's right.
By that, I mean Seattle. We would love to be represented on the West Coast.
Listen, I can tell you this much. We're represented overseas. We've had people hit us up from Canada. Ever heard of it?
Canada?
No. Where's Canada?
It's overseas, north.
Okay.
And then also Ireland. Ever heard of it?
In Mexico, right?
Correct. And all over these United States. So we love when people ask us to send out stickers because we love to know where people are listening. So definitely hit us up. We mean it. They're absolutely free. I send them out. And then we don't do anything with your information. Like, I think some people think we're going to email you or do all. No, we don't need an email. I just need your address to send you stickers.
I do lots of things with your information, guys.
Please don't tell people that. That's not true. Ryan doesn't even know how to access that information.
No, have absolutely no idea.
God, you sell stuff on the dark web once, and suddenly you're the dark web salesperson.
Seriously.
He's just a kidney.
I can tell you guys this much, and I said this to you guys, I think, last week. Coming up, I have a couple Fridays off. I'm planning on doing some work with some designs, and hopefully for the holiday season, you can gift some Mark Order podcast merchandise. So we'll keep you guys updated. Keep an eye out on that. The other thing we want to say thank you to is the people who are watching us live right now. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. The Gordon Posts, the Asian Joes, Jesse Ozog, Slonomite, a number of other people I'm probably forgetting. Mrs. Money was here before. Kyle K. Sparks, Eric Freeds. Thank you if I forgot you or if I missed your name in here. I'm sorry, but there's a lot of chats to get through. I can't get to them all. But thank you for watching us live. We appreciate you. If you listen to us in podcast form, we appreciate you as well. Thank you for listening. If you are listening in podcast form, give us a little subscribe wherever you're listening to. Rate us. Review us. Whatever you do in podcast forums will definitely help us. So any of that stuff, that's free ways to help us without spending a dime, and we appreciate your time. If you've never tried watching us on video form, head over to our YouTube channel. All of these shows are there in video format for you to watch at any time. And you can see Kate's positivity shirt that she wears is a lie. You could see Ryan thinking deeply tonight throughout the episode at different times. You can go back to episode Sexy 69 and see where the captain makes his first appearance. Maybe a specific night where Matt's
be back.
Where Matt's cats get into a fight and he has to run off. Or perhaps when Matt decided to come on one night when he was unavailable and got home late and maybe had one too many spicy margs and took his shirt off. That's also a lot of fun. So go ahead, check us out on YouTube. And to anybody who is watching on YouTube, please, I'll do one of these weird things. If you can go towards the bottom and click that like and subscribe, y'all. That definitely helps us out on YouTube so people can find us on YouTube. And we appreciate you for doing that. Other than that, I got nothing else going on. I'm usually here on Wednesdays when I'm not being, when I'm not in high demand, sitting in suites, limousine riding, jet flying, wheeling, dealing, kiss stealing, son of a gun. Woo! I think I had that all sorts of backwards, but you get the idea. So we will be back next week. Episode 85. We're inching ever closer to Nasty 96. You like that? Boom. Yeah, I know that somebody last week asked about taking the 69 intro and remixing it for 96. I'll just say this. If anybody out there does want to do some sort of weird 96 opening, we'll certainly listen to it. We're not guaranteed to use it. We just can't use commercially licensed music and stuff like that for our intros. So just be aware. But if you want us to hear whatever you want to put together, certainly send it our way. Ryan's going to keep it all and listen to it on repeat and think weird thoughts. Oh my God. Please let the captain come back.
Let's end the episode immediately.
Why? Is it Ryan's weird thing he's doing?
Come hither wave is creeping me out.
And the sideways hat? Yeah, it's kind of creepy. We're going to end it here. We'll see y'all next week on the Mark Order podcast here on the Shining Wizards Network.
This concludes the Mark Order podcast. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Join the Mark Order.